Bum, 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 bum. Welcome, welcome. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Saturday Night Star Trek, issue number 10 on Clobbering Times, issue number 95. Oh, excuse me, 97, but actually 797. Okay, I can't see my screen because it's far, far back, and it has to be. I'm sorry. Welcome, welcome, all of you, my dear friends. We're going to, oh my goodness, do we have some monster Trek for you tonight. We're going to this is going to be like eating really rich chocolate cake. It's going to be such great Trek. You're not even going to be able to stand it. It's so good. You will. You're going to go, oh my God, I've had too much. Oh no. It's going to be that wonderful, but not more wonderful than my extraordinary first officer. The great RAQUEL BRIGGS is here with me tonight. Thank you so much, my friend.
What a wonderful and warm welcome. I just love you so much, Clubby. Thank you so much for having me here tonight. And yeah, look at the chat just exploding with comments and well wishes from everybody. You guys are the greatest community, and I miss you guys all week. So it's so good to see you. It's so good to see all those avatars popping up and all those familiar names. And yeah, you guys are just the greatest. I noticed that Steve Mitchum, he has a new picture of his daughter on his avatar. Could she be any
Oh,
cuter? She is
nice. Maddie.
absolutely gorgeous. Yeah. Anyway, I don't want to get us too off track, but that baby is beautiful.
Oh, speaking of daughters, his daughter is just a baby, and mine, oh my goodness, I'm so old, made 34 years old today. So big shout out to my wonderful daughter, Ashley, who's no reason she should be listening, and she's not, but I hope she's having a wonderful birthday. Of course, I did not get to see her today, but I will be getting to see her next week. I'm hoping next Saturday. I'm hoping I get to see her because she lives a little bit far away. Not, just far enough to where well, and by the way, she's 34. She doesn't want to see me on her birthday. She wants to go do something fun. So there's that as well. And I love you, Ashley, and happy birthday. 34. Thanks a lot for making me feel even older, Ashley. But you seem to do that every birthday, don't you? I love you, love you. My son, and by the way, this month he will be 32. He's on Shatner's birthday. So I'm pretty happy about that. Anyway, I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. Um, let's see here. I want to start saying some hellos, but first, I'm going to make some show announcements because we got some stuff coming up. Monday, we're going to be finishing up a Monday Night Comics, finishing up WandaVision. Gonna get that over with, folks. Yeah. And then, of course, Wednesday night. I am really excited about this. It'll be episode number 99. But I have been honored to be a part of a video on one of the greatest YouTube channels there is, Retro Blasting. My dear friends, of course, Michael and Melinda French have Michael French and Melinda Mock-Up, that is. The great Eminem have of just an extraordinary channel, and we have been friends for over a decade, and they have, Michael and Melinda has at times as well. They've been on my show so many times, just wonderful friends to the show. And Michael was doing a video. Of course, he has a great channel where he covers, retro. It's retro blasting, of course. 80s in particular, not everything, but a lot of 80s cartoons, toys, and many things like that. And he was doing one about, of course, as you can see here, Pride of the X-Men. P as in Kitty Pride, Pryde, if you remember that one-shot cartoon. And he wanted to do a big, basically, this is one of his longest videos, too. It's about, of course, comics. He needed a comic expert, but couldn't find one, so I faked it. And I love you, bro, out there. I appreciate you letting me be part of this video. He dropped it last night. It is fantastic. I'm going to put a link to his great channel in my chat. If you have not subscribed to Retro Blasting, I mean, if you're just a toy fan, or if you just love old 80s cartoons, or you were a kid in the 80s, you would love Retro Blasting. If you have not joined, I know some of my friends here are members of Retro Blasting, have been subscribed for a long time. So they are fantastic. I am so honored. He's been on my show so many times, and I've helped him with videos here and there, I think, or at least talked to him about them. But now I got to be on one, and I I'm proud. I'm absolutely proud to have done so. So thanks, buddy. and I'm going to have him on with me if he can make it. If I have to switch it, it might have, but he's supposed to be on with me Wednesday night to talk about, well, Pride of the X-Men and whatever else, because we just have a great time talking about everything. So I love you out there, bro, man. I appreciate you if you're out there listening. And now, Raquel. Oh, by the way, sorry. One other thing. Thursday, the Global Geek Gang will help me celebrate this. 800. 800. Ugh. I don't know how that's happening.
Should I give that one a wee?
Oh, yeah. Well, we always like a good wee. Not a wee, but a wee.
No, don't give it any wee. Don't give it any wee at all. I mean it. Don't do it.
So if I live till Thursday, we're going to do an 800 right there. Just saying. I mean, I might not. I don't walk out in front of buses very often, but you never know. And now we get the fun bit that I always, and I know you always enjoy. We get to say hello to all of our fantastic friends in the chat. What a gang we've got going, huh?
Yes. Best community on the internet. Other shows say that. They're just sucking up to their people. We actually mean it around here.
Oh, absolutely. We would not. This would be no fun without you. It would be fun, but it wouldn't be as much fun. Let's just be honest, everyone. With, as you mentioned, the aforementioned, magnificent Maddie's daddy.
Yay.
Yo, brother. Cool. It was cool talking to you the other night, bro. It's been a while, man. So enjoyed it. I'm glad you're here. The great Lord Doth. Avon lives. LLL. Long live the Legion, my buddy.
Yes. So good to see you.
He is the man. And he was on with us geeks last Thursday. Man, dude, you need to join the Global Geek Gang often. Jesus is my King 68. I sang your name and I'm going to hell for it. Sorry. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. We appreciate you.
Very nice to see you.
And let's see here. Oh, my goodness. The great RN, as in Feliciano, is here. Raymond.
Hi, Ray. Raymond. I shouldn't call you Ray because I'm not sure if you even like that. Raymond is an author and he is a very, very cool cat and is a super nerd and wonderful to be around. So if you're just listening at home, I just wanted to take this opportunity to remind you that if you become a part of our live chat, you will meet some of the biggest Star Trek nerds who bring together their collective brains to expose all of the trivia that is possible and available for Trekkies. So yeah, and Raymond is a part of that. In fact, every single person here is like that. And that's why I think this chat is so special. It's the biggest group of nerds and geeks you're going to find on the internet.
Indeed. And the coolest, of course.
See, Sandra says he hates being called Ray. Sorry, man. Sorry. See, I corrected myself. I know. See, I'm very sorry, Raymond.
Oh, my goodness. Well, there you go. At least you got it handled. You got it corrected there. There's, of course, everyone, a link. It's in the description below as well, but I guess that link works. If that doesn't, check the one in the description below. I don't know. It just looks weird, but looks like that might be work. If not, we'll get that to Raymond's book there. And of course, there's a link I'm showing there. Please go check out Pride of the X-Men video later, of course, and give Michael a subscription. It's a great channel. Retro Blasting's amazing. And oh, by the way, before we continue, because it's gonna this wonderful lady will never say it enough, so I will. She, of course, is also a writer and an author, actually. And here is a link to her works that you can follow. There it is in the chat. I think these links, they look weird when you do them from the StreamYard angle.
Oh, thank you so much. That's so very kind of you. Yes, I write short stories. They're science fiction, and they're available through Amazon. You can read them on any device, and they're also available through Kindle, through your Kindle app.
Indeed, and there is a link, ladies and gentlemen, to that.
To Raymond's book.
To Raymond's and yours. And here you go. So let me put it on the screen there. Also with us tonight, of course, is our great buddy Ash Singh, a member of the Global Geek Gang. Hey, buddy.
Hey, Sat Shri Akal. So nice to see you, Ash. Thank you for coming.
What she said. And they call him Scuba Pete. He's the king of the Ramba Beat. Scuba Pete! Great to see you, my friend. There's some weirdo in the chat called Jed Toad something. No, hey, buddy, I'm just kidding. Hey, buddy, good to see you. Well, you are a weirdo, but that's why you're here. So.
Hey, Jed.
Right, buddy. Jed, good to see you. Oh, I've been the wonderful Sandra Feliciano was also here. And we have a lady that I've not seen before. Miranda, is it Bromus? Is that, if I hope I'm saying that
I think
correctly?
it's Brumis. I think that might be a Greek name, maybe an Italian name. So let us know if that's correct, Miranda.
Well, Miranda, I can't see too well because the avatars are small, but that looks like a beautiful redhead, and I'm just,
Oh,
you found my kryptonite. So
that's kryptonite around here. This is the Redhead Hall of Fame going on here.
It's lovely to see you, Miranda. We appreciate you. The great Carrie Fisher, aka the Flash, my longtime partner of crime. Yes, indeed, the Flash. Oh, hey, buddy. Great to see you, Flash. Glad you're here, bro. Rod Thunderheart.
Rod Thunderheart.
You got to say it like that. This is the only way it works.
Hailing from the great city of Yegg. He
Indeed.
is also an author. Rod writes romance novels. So if you're out and about on the internet and you would like to hook up with Rod on Twitter, you'll be able to find his books.
Indeed. Rod, indeed. Thank you for being here, my friend. And I tell you what, you cannot get more wrench power than the wonderful Felicianos and our great buddies, the amazing Chris Persia, the wrench of the North, and the great wrench of the West as well. Eric K., my friend.
I mean, you said them all together, but each one of them deserves so much praise. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for helping us to produce the show and for just building this excellent sense of community and just being so wonderful to everyone and so knowledgeable and helpful. We really appreciate you so much. Thank you so much.
Indeed. Mark D with a C. What? Oh, look, now you're gonna get Eric on my case now. Thanks a lot, Mark D with a C. My great buddy Mark D with a C, stirring it up. Retro blasting repeated the rumor. Yes, I heard him on the site today. I heard him on a stream today. That Clubby might have on the comic book store. Well, it's a
Clubby's totally catching on, isn't it?
Oh, yes. Well,
everybody knows Clubby owned a comic book store. Did you hear him all groan, you guys? Did you hear him go, oh? Okay. He has to live up to his reputation. He is Clubby. This is Clobbering Times. And he is a super geek who owned a comic book store. So, yeah, so true. No matter how much he groans because he doesn't like to talk about himself, he is a comic book genius.
If this is the worst thing in the world that you can be a genius on, it's comic books. So it might be true then. Because that's a pretty crappy thing to be. Well, I'm just going to be honest. I love them, but that's a crappy thing to be a genius on. But I'll take it. Because I'm also a genius at being a dumbass on just about every other level. So is it possible to be a genius at being a dumbass? Oh, yes. I've seen Twitter. It is. Dumb question. See, I'm a genius at dumb questions. The great Just Joe 47 Jobber. What's up, my brother?
Nice to see you.
The man, he from the old school, from the old days. He is the man. Jobber keeps us in line there. Parrot Head, welcome.
Parrot Head, so good to see you. Love you. Mwah, mwah.
I hope you're not wasting away again in Margaritaville. Looking for that lost saker of salt. So let's see. I'm just backtracking, see if I'd missed any of our wonderful
Dr. Hercumonkey and James Caserta.
Well, she said Dr. Hercumonkey before I did, damn it.
Dr. Hercumonkey.
I'm going to say it again. You ready? Is everyone ready? Dr. Hercumonkey. Okay, I'm getting a little crazy with my Dr. Hercumonkey. But it's your own fault. What's his own fault for making that name? I mean, let's face it. It's your fault, Doc. What's that, Doc?
Hey, Ace just walked in the room.
Indeed, the great Ace Cast Iron, LLL indeed, brother. Great to see you, my friend. And James Caserta, welcome, sir. It's great to see you. I think we're all caught up. If anyone else pops in, we will definitely throw a warm Clobbering Times Saturday night Star Trek welcome to them. And oh my goodness, the beautiful
Purple Valkyrie just
Purple
walked in.
Valkyrie.
I love you, beautiful. Thank you so much for coming tonight.
Oh, beautiful ladies. Beautiful ladies everywhere tonight. And then don't have a complaint there. Yeah, I can't find a reason to complain about that. So, and I'm going to say I don't know if he's here tonight, but if he's listening or lurking or whatever, big shout out and big good vibes to our old buddy Mark C. Always rooting for you, brother.
We are thinking of you. We are your loyal friends, and we're here, and we just love you to bits. So we're here to support you, and we're all thinking about you. And I say that assuredly on behalf of this entire community here that we've built and this show. So we're thinking of you, sweetheart.
In my case, Mark, I just tolerate you to bits.
And I'd like to give a shout out to Katie Carr.
Oh,
Katie,
yes.
yeah, I just wanted to let Katie Carr know that if she's listening, we're also thinking of her, and we just love her to pieces, Mises. She's just the cutest little ballerina in the whole wide world, and I hope she stops in tonight.
I certainly hope so. Katie, we love you. We love you. We love you. You are part of this team and you're part of this family here, and you are just amazing. And I hope you show up, and I hope you're having a wonderful night. Katie, please, please have a fantastic and fun night listening to us. And we hope you, if you are listening, we hope you stop by and say hi. But whether you do or not, we hope you're there.
Look at Flash. Never calls me beautiful. Whatever.
Let's see. Flash, you're Flash, you're a beautiful person.
Yes.
There you go. How about that? He is a beautiful person. Oh, that hurt.
So we got 4 episodes tonight.
Oh, my
like goodness. Every Saturday, we do 4 episodes of Star Trek because we're trying to do 1966, technically 1964, but 1966 to 05, which is the only Star Trek. It is the real Star Trek. It is the real McCoy, mint julep and all. So in order to do that, every Saturday, we materialize here to cover 4 episodes. And when we do, we use this little book that looks like a block, and it's called Star Trek 365. And we use that book because, of course, it's verified. So not only has it been blessed by DC Fontana, christened by her, so we know the information is accurate, but it's vetted and published. And the reason why we like to bring that up on this show is because there will be a lot of times when you will be on the internet and you're going to come across information about Star Trek that might not be true. And the reason for this is a lot of the information out there that is free, quote unquote free, is actually user-generated content. So around here, what we like to do is we like to use the expertise of the chat, the expertise of Clobby, and the expertise of the book. All of us come together and we flesh out all of the information that we know is true. And if it's not true, we sort of say, hey, I heard a rumor that might be what this is. And somebody said this, or she said it at a con in 1996 or whatever have you. And so that's how we bring information together here. Oh, Stephen Ernest just walked in the door.
Stephen, welcome. Welcome, my friend. We appreciate you.
Yeah, so there you can see the book there, and it's Clobby loves to call this a brick, and that's exactly what it looks like in real life. It literally looks like a brick, like a cinder block that you would build a house out of. And so for that, it's quite awkward, and so we don't even call it pages. We just call it tiles, or we call it bricks, and we give off the number that it is, and it's very short and sweet. It's a little summary, and then we hope some production stuff that you may or may not have heard before, but at least here you can rely on that information. It's not user-generated content, and so I very much caution the audience to be careful of what they believe on the user-generated content wikis, especially Memory Alpha.
Mm-hmm.
Some funky things have been happening over there, and it's important to go with vetted information, not things that people have just put to a wiki.
Indeed. I'm excited because we've got some top fivers tonight for me in we got some top-notch Trek. This might be the Fantastic Four of Trek, these 4 episodes for in a sense, because a couple of weeks back, I thought, didn't we have like Devil in the Dark and Sitting in the River in the same episode and same. Yep. Didn't we have Spacey on that one as well? I mean, it was rocking.
It was crazy. Lord Thoth actually cracked an A, and even cracked, I believe, an A+ for City on the Edge of Forever. So we cracked the stoic the Stade, Lord Thoth, we had that many heavy hitters.
Lord Thoth, you are a tightwad, man. But we're getting an A out of you tonight.
He is the Ebenezer Scrooge of ratings. So he is the litmus test around here. We love to tease him about it. And everyone in the chat loves to use him, like I said, like a litmus test.
Yeah, dude, I'm getting an A out of you tonight, man. That's it. I know we talked about it actually. So yeah, I think, ladies and gentlemen, we'll see one of those rare A's out of Lord Thoth, or my name ain't, or whatever it is, because I don't even know what it is.
Clobby.
Oh yeah, it is Clobby.
Sorry, I call you that now. It's stuck. It's sticking. It's sticking all over the internet. I accept responsibility for proliferating that name. I love you. It suits you so well. You even look like him. Like if you were made out of rock, you even look like him.
I wish I looked like him. I would. I mean, I actually do. I see, Ben Grimm, always hated looking like a big pile of rocks, but he got used to it. I would have liked to have started out that way. I'm weird. But I'll tell you, this is amazing. These episodes, oh my goodness, we're about to dive into them, folks. Please remember.
We are.
Thank you. Yes, if you are here, I don't ask. Oh, by the way, I picked up a handful of new subs today. I want to thank everyone who did our new subscribers. Yay! Due to the Pride of the X-Men videos. A lot of friends over there, some great people have seen that, so I do appreciate that. If you are new here, or if you're listening later on a download or something like that, we appreciate it. If you could, if you give me a sub, and if you give me a like, or look, if you don't like it, if you can hit that don't like. That's what I call it, the don't liker. Either way. Yeah. What the hell was Raymond saying? Ben Grimm got the hot chick. He did, man. Alicia Thundra. Good God. Yeah,
well,
Sharon?
That's another thing to be aware of, folks, when if you're listening at home and you're listening to this as a podcast. Sometimes Clobby and I will just break out in laughter, and it will seem incredibly inappropriate. We're not actually disrespecting one another. I just want you to know that we both are very active in the chat, and we really, really care about the people in the chat. They're actually our friends on social media and in real life. So when they've got something to say, we make sure that we're scanning through and reading them. And sometimes they just say funny stuff that just makes us bust a gut, and the conversation gets redirected. So if you're hearing us just, start to giggle and you think to yourself, why are they giggling? It's because we love our chat.
Yeah, indeed. And I agree, Jobber. I love Loki's clobbering time scream for the round table. I appreciate him. He's great. He's the best. I can't even compete with him there. So I guess everyone, we are about ready to warp into action for our first episode. Was of course, well, I'm going to let you take it away. It was aired first, but
yeah, so around here, we're doing the production code. And the reason why we're doing the production code is that the younger people who have come to Star Trek have sort of developed a culture on social media where they feel as though Star Trek is filled with flaws and mistakes. That's the same word. What kind of word am I looking for here? That people were sloppy in making Star Trek, and that's the impression they have. And if you watch in the broadcast order, you can get that impression. You sort of think to yourself, why is all this stuff happening? But if you watch in production order, a story emerges where you start to understand what was going on behind the scenes. We learned so many things about the way the stories developed, the way that the characters developed, the way that the costumes developed, and even the way that the stories were sometimes built around the very expensive locations that had to be secured and the sets that were made. So around here, what we do is we sort of say, okay, here's what it is in the broadcasting order that you're used to watching. And then we give the production code, and that's how we're covering it, the production code. So far, we've done 33. Tonight, we're on 34 as we embark upon a mock time. Now, if you're watching this on a streaming service, on the various streaming services, especially here in the Western Hemisphere, that would be Season 2, Episode 1, Prod Code 34. And I'll start us off by reading from the block text, and we're on block or tile number 171172. When the typically staid Spock begins behaving erratically, Kirk orders him to undergo a thorough medical examination. McCoy's diagnosis is a stunner. Spock will die if he isn't taken home to Vulcan within a matter of days. But why? Spock reluctantly reveals that he has entered the Vulcan Pon farr, an overwhelming biochemical process that compels members of his race to return home and take a mate, or die from the tremendous pent-up physical and mental stresses within. Defying his standing Starfleet orders, Kirk changes course for Spock's homeworld, unaware that aspects of the primitive mating ritual soon will put his very life in peril. Theodore Sturgeon's script of Amok Time, which kicked off the series' second season on NBC, provided a plethora of information about the insular Vulcan civilization, answering questions that not even the most avid Star Trek fan would have even considered asking. Well, why not? Well, for one thing, it would have been extremely rude. Rather than deliver a thoroughly staid piece of Vulcan civilization, Sturgeon created a drama about a subject typically not discussed in polite company: biology. That is biology of the Vulcan reproductive kind. Like Kirk, audiences probably had assumed that when adult Vulcans felt like it was time to increase the population, they went about it logically. But Sturgeon came up with a far more interesting theory. 2,000 years earlier, he explained, the Vulcan race purged emotion from their daily lives and pressed logic into their collective bosoms. As a result, the species entered a prolonged period of peace and intellectual enlightenment, but for which they would pay an extremely high price. The Vulcanians became absolute masters of their passions, but every 7 years they would become slaves to the basest of passions, requiring to mate or die. It strips our minds from us. It brings a madness which rips away our veneer of civilization. It is Pon farr, the time of mating. For such an earthly subject, the story drew surprisingly few complaints. Quite remarkable, considering that NBC Standards and Practices watchdogs regularly instructed Star Trek producers to avoid any scenes involving open-mouth kissing. Perhaps Spock's simple likening Pon farr to the plight of Earth's salmon swimming upstream to spawn made it seem as if the subject matter really did concern plain old biology rather than sex. Reportedly, only one station refused to air the episode as is. ZDF, or in the United States, you would say Z, so ZDF. A German television channel is said to have cut several scenes and to have rewritten dialogue for the voice actors who dubbed the American lines into German. Thus, in Germany, it appeared that Spock was suffering from space fever. Aren't there a whole bunch of 1970s songs about a fever and an itch and lots of fever and itching? Anyways, onward and upward. Well, perhaps downward. We're not sure yet. Okay. Frederick Beauregard Phillips was Star Trek's makeup man for 78 of the series' 79 episodes, the exception being the second plot. After Phillips did The Cage, Robert Don, son of MGM makeup maestro Jack Don, sat in for him on Where No Man Has Gone Before. We talked about that before. Phillips returned for the regular first episode to be filmed, The Corbomite Maneuver. Gene Roddenberry had requested Spock's pointed ears, but Phillips is credited with devising and refining the Vulcan look, not to mention the look of the Klingons, the Romulans, the Talosians, and every other alien species, sans rubber suits, that the Enterprise came across. Phillips later was responsible for the Klingon update appearance in Star Trek The Motion Picture, where he added the dental appliances and knobby skull ridges that only a movie, longer shooting schedule, and larger budget could possibly afford. Leonard Nimoy typically spent 90 minutes, in the makeup chair. This gave Phillips the requisite time to apply the actor's specially molded latex ear tips, yellowish face, and body makeup, and the yak hair eyebrows, as well as to style his own hair. On occasions, Phillips could nearly cut that time in half, but such occasions were a rarity. As was the case with the post production department heads, Phillips worked tirelessly with assistants who could take on the low maintenance members of the cast or of that week's cast, but some days there couldn't possibly be enough hands. Amok Time is a perfect case in point, applying a full complement of ears to a contingent of actors hired as Vulcans at Spock's wedding. Might have blown the entire season's budget for materials and labor. Thankfully, costume designer William Ware Theiss, or Thies, came to the rescue, recycling the helmets worn by the Romulans in Season 1's Balance of Terror. Theiss covered the heads of many extras, saving Phillips hours of work. And he means, of course, on the ears. Of course, what the budget saved on ears was spent on the episode's wardrobe budget. Aside of the helmets, all exotic duds were made from scratch. And if you can believe it, folks, they were never used again. The Vulcan salute, along with the accompanying phrase, "Live long and prosper," first appeared in Amok Time. The salute had not been mentioned in the script. Theodore Sturgeon had only written that Spock would approach Vulcan matriarch T'Pau and greet her. While preparing to shoot the scene, actor Leonard Nimoy felt that he should lead with some type of respectful gesture, the equivalent of a salute, a handshake, or a bow. Director Joseph Pevney agreed and suggested that Nimoy create a gesture. In doing so, the actor fell back on a curious hand and figure configuration he called from childhood. Some viewers assumed that the salute was a variation of the two-fingered peace sign so popular in the 1960s. But years later, Nimoy revealed that he actually based it on something he'd witnessed long ago during a high holy day of service at the synagogue. His family had instructed young Leonard to cover his eyes respectfully during the delivery of the sacred blessing, but being a small, curious boy, he peeked. Nimoy observed the rabbi raise and spread his fingers of both of his hands to form the Hebrew letter Shin, which stands for the word Shaddai or Shaddai. Sorry, I don't have very good Hebrew. And this in English means Almighty. Nimoy relates that he found the experience both moving and magical. It remained with him his entire life, and he drew upon it when he filmed Amok Time, adapting the two-handed blessing into a one-handed salute, with his fingers split in the familiar V. Other than the mainframe, the fight music for Amok Time is perhaps the most recognizable theme from Star Trek. Composed by Gerald Fried, or Fried, the Stravinsky-esque piece titled The Ritual or Ancient Battle represents the full spectrum of activity encompassed within the ancient Vulcan Kun Ut Kalefi, literally the marriage or the challenge ceremony. We first hear this theme played softly under the dialogue as Spock describes the source of his space fever. A short time later, the measured but slightly dissonant strains accompanying the processional leading to joining the ceremony. Then after, Spock learns that he must fight for his betrothed's hand, and he explodes into a frenzy of savagery, beloved by fans of violently choreographed free-for-alls. The theme has been borrowed to accompany on-screen fights for The Simpsons, The Cable Guy, and Futurama. As described by Jeff Bond in his book, The Music of Star Trek, the theme is a model of action scene bombast, wildly percussive and bursting with exclamatory trumpet, flute, and woodwind trills to accentuate the hammering of the brass-performed fanfare. Those who work closely with Star Trek have a tendency to discuss aspects of the series from what may seem to outsiders a peculiar perspective. Although we know it's just television, the characters, ships, creatures, and civilizations all exist within our minds as extensions of actual living history. At times, there doesn't seem to be much difference between the world outside, the metaphor, and the world within it. For Michael Okuda, who contributed to every Star Trek movie and television series from Star Trek IV, The Voyage Home, through Star Trek Enterprise, and his wife Denise, who co-wrote the Star Trek Encyclopedia with him while working on many of the same shows, the distinctions are particularly fine. Invited to say a few words about some of the stunning images they helped to create for the remastered release of Star Trek, they chose to do it within a metaphor, as with this description of the rendering of Amok Time. The nuclear holocaust 2 millennia ago not only shattered Vulcanian civilization, but it laid waste to the face of the planet itself. Few traces remained of life before the time of the awakening, save for a few ancient temples and statues, mostly ensconced in the once verdant mountains. Yet those decaying stone edifices embodied the inherent contradictions of Vulcan society, the determined efforts of a violent people to live a life of serene logic in defiance to their animal passions. Some believed it impossible to change a people's very nature, choosing instead to abandon their homeworld. But those that remained provided equal to the challenge. The teaching of Serac brought about a new rebirth to Vulcanian society, one free of the scourge of warfare whose scars still marred the planet. And of course, they're talking about that beautiful scene where you can actually see Spock's hometown, and it's up on the precipices that have been carved out by water. So it's that heavily red, it looks almost like Mars type of photograph. It's quite beautiful. And I'm going to stop there. That was actually quite a lot of coverage for Amok Time. Obviously, we can tell that Block and DC Fontana loved this episode because, wow, that's a lot of information. So now, while I take a break before I do my notes, I'd like to turn it over to Clobby. Clobby, what did you think of Block's coverage? And Chat, what did you think of Block's coverage of Amok Time?
Excellent, as always, informative, and I'm just so this one, man. It's probably my number. Oh goodness, maybe favorite episode. It's in my top 5. So I'm just excited to talk about it so much that I can't even think of what to say. It's just every bit of it, and someone, it's so. There's nothing bad about this episode at all. To me, this is one of the most brilliant things they've ever done on Star Trek. And again, it's not so much a high concept episode like so many of them. It's just great character stuff. We learned so much about Spock, so much about the Vulcans in this one. If you, by the way, I know some people don't like the remasters, but there is one kind of cool scene when they go down the Vulcan, and I'm sure you've seen it, where we actually get a big shot of them walking across the bridge to the Kunat Khalifi arena, for lack of a better term, whatever it's called.
Yes.
And it was beautiful, like, because you were talking about in the text, we were talking about the beautiful shots of Vulcan,
yes,
which was really nice. But no, it's just, what do you say? What do you even say about this episode? There's so much. I don't even know where to start. Start at the beginning, I guess. What a wonderful opening. With Spock. I don't know, Kirk's reaction to when McCoy tells him at the beginning that Spock says to him, "You will cease to pry into my personal affairs, Doctor. I shall certainly break your neck." He's like, Spock said that. He wasn't going, like, really. But he had to have Spock act like a maniac, throwing the Plomeek soup at the wall and filthy prying. If I wanted to, ask for it.
Yeah. And it's a shame that it wasn't Plomeek broth and it was Plomeek soup, because boy, it hit the wall like an alien. I would like to beg your pardon for 1 second, and I'm very sorry for interrupting you. But my good friend Wade, the sci-fi guy, just walked through the door, as well as the now infamous and much beloved TMF, Toxic Man Flu, is in the house. And we have Cyber Elf. I've never met you before, Cyber Elf. Welcome, and it's so nice to have you here tonight with us.
You haven't missed anything at all. We're still just getting started, Cyber Elf, and we appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for popping in. We appreciate you. And yeah, we're just getting started on their first of 4 episodes that we're talking about tonight. Yeah, this one is just special to me. As everyone knows, we're doing these shows. For those who may not know, if you joined us late, we're reviewing all of Star Trek in order of production. And but everyone knows this episode was the first to air for the second season.
Mhm.
And even though I'm with you, I love I really like watching it in production order. It's a very useful thing. I can definitely see why you would put this one first.
Yeah.
What a start.
Yeah.
To
And
a season.
they don't always make the good decisions.
No.
But remember when we spoke previously about production budget, that
Right.
several episodes were compromised in order to get us here. So we know that the Cat's Paw is directly and openly they cheaped out on it openly and directly in order to make this episode happen. So huge buildup. They knew this was going to be number one. They had already done 33 shows. So this is prod code 34. They knew it was coming up and they set aside the money to make it happen. And boy, did they make it happen to glorious effect.
Absolutely. Not such a good choice showing Mantrap first. Great choice showing this one first. Because, it was a time when TV wasn't very, continuity, aware. So it didn't matter. They didn't have continuity from episode to episode.
And the executives interfered too much. Like I don't care that you think a good monster movie would sell better and that it makes a better impression. Let the author tell their story, because if you believe in an author, then you have to believe in their substantive edit, and showing things in the order in which they're written and the order in which they're produced is believing in that substantive edit. So in order to believe in the author, you have to believe in the substantive edit. And then we see so many decades later, people thinking that this was like some sloppy, goofy, stupid production with all of these mistakes. So when we're watching it in prod order, boy, we're starting to see how compromises are made and how this story starts to come together.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's filled with so many wonderful character moments, when even little ones with Chekhov and Sulu, but also when you have the beginning, when Spock finally tells Kirk of his dilemma, because Spock is kind of out of it. He even changes the course without Kirk's permission. All these other things that are going on. When he tells him, that is as one of the most beautifully acted scenes all around between Kirk, between Shatner and Nimoy, Kirk and Spock, in the whole of all of the series. It was a
he had the fever for the flavor of a Pringle, and he had to tell his boss. Sorry.
Now that you put it that way.
What's wrong with me?
Oh my goodness! Thank you, Chris Persia. I don't even know. You got me. So
that's too much pun. I think that's just too much pun. I think that's only enough pun for TMF.
Oh my goodness! Yeah, you got me there.
Space fever, to Pring. He had the fever for the flavor of a Pringle. I don't know what's wrong with me. Perhaps I should just stop talking.
Well, I will tell you one thing, and I can tell you this for sure. And you could all write this. You can take this one to the bank, folks. The birds and the bees are not Vulcans.
No.
That's one of my biggest takeaways from this episode, because Spock said so. No, what a concept, though. What an episode. What a wonderful one. Let's see. So many, and we've seen them flying through in the chat so fast. People just quoting it all over the place. And this is, Trek's always quotable. The best ones are. Yep. And this one is one of the most quotable episodes of Star Trek.
Oh, yeah. It's all over the place.
Everyone here knows the story.
Yeah.
I mean, just other, single out bits and pieces that we like is one thing. You never have to do a big, like, for example, after you read off your beginning part with the block text, I never have to sit there and tell everybody what this episode is about.
Yeah.
You just talk about some of the things that stick out, some of the things you really liked about it, and that would take 2 hours for me to tell you everything I liked about it. Suffice to say, I just adore the episode. I love the interactions between the characters. I'm one of those, and I do this all the time. I don't know if I'm the only one. Sometimes I like little things. Sometimes I like little bits. I like to bring up little bits that I'm sure some people think of it too, because sometimes it is the little things, and you get a lot of little things in an episode. I love when Spock. Again, he and McCoy are always adversarial. When he asks McCoy to join him, he's joined by his closest friends. I think this is one of the times when Spock, and we all know he's sick in the head at this moment, right?
Yeah.
Basically admitting that McCoy is one of his best friends. Touching again, 2 seconds. It's nothing, but it's something.
And I love that McCoy never rubs it in.
No, he's all
Did you
professional.
notice how he just graciously accepts it in that moment because he realizes that he's vulnerable? Yeah, the details are incredibly important because the details show the care with which Theodore Sturgeon went to making this episode and making it come to life and making it real. And wow, did he ever do a great job. Just a fantastic job. I have so many notes from this episode.
Yes.
And just it's
Martin with the C. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I'm saying, yeah, that's one of the fascinating things about it as well. Vulcan, basically, and it's said later, how it's interesting how, despite how advanced the Vulcans were, they had all this primitive stuff. Yes, and basically McCoy said, maybe it's the price they pay for having no emotions the rest of the time. So even Vulcans pay the price. But even though, look, Vulcans do Spock kind of fib sometimes, saying, I am incapable of that emotion, Captain. We know that's not true. They have emotions, but they suppress them. So, Spock?
Yeah. It's the Geologia of lovin'. That's what's going on here. Do you know what I mean? It's the Geologia of lovin'. And James Caserta said, it's the 7-year itch. No, it's the 7-year space fever. It's the 7-year Geologia. How long is, no, Geologia is just 1 year. But yeah, it's a 7-year Geologia.
Well, McCoy had his. Here's a question. Yeah, absolutely. But I got an answer for that. I have no problem with that. Flash. Why did McCoy have that hypo, the Triox compound that he shot Kirk with? Well, he always brings a standard little medical kit with him. So
he does. So it would be programmed. It would have been programmed. He would have. He would have programmed it for whatever was required.
Not only that, he knows that the atmosphere is not all that conducive to human beings, so he brought things with him.
Yeah.
Just in case they would need it.
That would definitely be just something you would take for granted, that you would know that McCoy would do that.
Basically, it works for me.
Yeah.
And yes, again, so many wonderful scenes in this episode. When we get to when we finally get to Vulcan, it's just ramped up. This stuff about T'Pau. Basically, the Kirk fight scene, it's legendary. It's so legendary.
I just say that your accent when you say T'Pau makes it sound like something that some type of weapon, the sound a weapon makes, and it sounds really cool. Like T'Pau, T'Pau. I just love it. It's great.
That might be the comic book geek in me, because I used to say "pow" like I'm Batman. Pow.
I love it. I've never heard you say T'Pau before, and I absolutely love it. It's cool.
I never thought about it. I just say, because it seemed to me, isn't that what Kirk said it? And he say, that's T'Pau of Vulcan. All of Vulcan in one package.
Yeah.
Yes, we're gonna change the spelling right now, folks. It is there. You go.
Yes, Lord Thoth. That is how you get it done right there. Lord Thoth, excellent suggestion. So now we have Spurpies, the fever for the flavor of a Pringle or a to Pringle. And of course, now we have T'Pau.
Yep. Well, again, I got you, Flash. I just never see that strapped to his hip any other time. I've got to admit, I never looked. So yeah, he loves the episode. He just says that bugs me.
That's okay, Flash.
That's cool. Oh, I'm gonna beat you up later, but I'm not gonna let you know.
Okay, so as you go through these some of these comments, I'm just gonna go ahead and read off my notes because I have like a crap ton of them. Okay, some of this might be repeated. As you guys know, I write my notes before I read the block text, and I do it while I'm watching the episode. So once again, this is especially for you folks who are taking notes for your trivia nights or for your trivia board games. This is the first episode with the Vulcan salute. Everybody already knows that. The second season, the set for Sick Bay was expanded to include an office for McCoy. Celia Lovsky could not do the Vulcan salute and her fingers had to be taped. The Romulan helmets from Balance of Terror are reused here. We already heard that. Leonard Nimoy names this as one of his favorite episodes. The original script had far more, Vulcanian language. Therein, Spock calls Kirk and McCoy Lak Noi, a Vulcanian for best men. There was also extensive chatter as the Vulcanians discussed the situation amongst themselves, and that was all cut. The production staff struggled for weeks to remove the plomeek soup stain from the wall on the set. Yikes. They should have done the plomeek broth. And I thought that it was weird. Block's comments on this, I thought that they were kind of weird because if you know anything about music, and you know about Maurice Ravel, and you know about his song Bolero, this music is inspired by Maurice Ravel's Bolero. And I was raised in a band, in a professional band, and was classically trained when I was young in music. And I will definitely tell you right now that I don't know about Stravinsky or any of that other stuff that Block said. However, I will tell you this, that Maurice Ravel wrote a song called Bolero, and it is blatantly ripped off here. And Bolero is one of my favorite songs. It also has a very romantic story about how some factory workers are coming home, and it's like, I think it's just breaking dawn. You have to go and look up the story of this. I'm just telling you from memory, and the story needs some filling in. But basically, it's breaking dawn, and they're all stiff and sore from work, and they start to dance, and the dance becomes more and more impassioned and beautiful and strong. And so when you see it danced to on the stage, it is incredible. It will set your skin on fire with magic. It's just, yes, please go and get Maurice Ravel's Bolero and play it ear blisteringly loud. It's just quite lovely. Also here, as many of you know, I teach linguistics, and I teach English. So I had to point out, even though it's super nerdy, the these and the thous are wrong here. I want to remind everyone at home that thou is the subject, as in the example of thou hurt me or thou are a beast. Thee should be for the object. Okay. I want to offer thee. He does not care for thee. So the to the death, and all of those scenes where the thee and thou, they're all wrong. Just FYI.
So it was just, I agree with thee was wrong.
Yes, so many of them are wrong. They're switching them back and forth completely incorrectly, and they need a grammar slap. Oh, yes. The idea of the to the death and rescue in the very last seconds of life is used again in TNG, of course, for the horrifically adapted Code of Honor, which we will talk about when we get to TNG. Oh, yes, here we have, and we had to Pring describing Leonard Nimoy. We had her describing Spock as legend. Okay, legend would not have been used by a Vulcanian. So we can see a sort of outside, an out of the inner circle writer here, in Theodore Sturgeon, because a Vulcan would not use this word to describe another Vulcan. The primary definition of legend, of course, and its accumulative connotation, is historical as unauthenticated. So it means like hyperbolic or untrue, or its etymology is from myth and miracles. So, and that's its primary accumulative connotation. So a Vulcan would have used something like infamous, or I don't even want to use the word celebrity, but just legend is a bad word choice here. Oh, and I love the moment where Spock yells, "Captain Jim!"
Oh God, yeah.
I just love it. And of course, this is one of the biggest quotes. It's one of Dictor Van Doomcock's favorite quotes. I'm not sure if it's his favorite, but he says it all the time. Shout out to Dictor Van Doomcock, who I love very much.
Hail Doomcock.
After a time, you may find that having is not so pleasing a thing after all as wanting. It is not logical, but is often true. So those are my notes on the coverage, folks.
It was excellent as always. By the way, it was totally not logical for her to prefer the guy from The Great Escape to Spock. Hail, the great Canadian Spider-Man who does whatever a Canadian spider can.
So good to see you. I'm so happy that you came in tonight.
Welcome, sir. Welcome indeed. Yes, hail Doomcock. But yeah, Stan. I can never remember the guy's name, but he was in one of the greatest movies of all time, The Great Escape. With Steve McQueen and so many others.
Do you know that his original name was supposed to be Spore? It's Lawrence Montaigne.
Okay, gotcha.
Do you know that it was supposed to be Spore? Not good, because think about what that would have implied, right?
Yeah. Hey, this piece of never mind. But yeah. When you want this piece of Spore, you can have it. I'm leaving.
Yeah, so it's Lawrence Montaigne. So Sean, yes.
So many wonderful scenes in it. Again, especially the big that music, and especially the big fight, and when he thinks he's killed Kirk.
Yeah,
and it snaps him out of the blood fever, the black towel.
Yeah,
it is truly a wonderful scene, and yes, that line, that because everyone's been putting all the quotes in the chat, so they all, again, that's what I love about this chat. I mean,
I know they're so nerdy. Did you see them explode talking about Ravel? The whole chat erupted. Oh, yes, yeah. Ravel. That, like, I'm telling you, folks, if you listen to this as a podcast, you have to come meet these nerds. These are the greatest, smartest nerds and geeks ever. I just adore them. These people, this community, they are so wonderful.
Yeah, they know the episode as well. They've watched it as much as we have, and that's the wonderful thing about it. It's amazing.
Yeah,
that's why you don't really have to go. You don't have to cover much other than when in terms of as far as the meat of the episode, they've all seen it. Just talking about bits and pieces that we like is after you get through with your text and the facts about it. That's the fun thing about it. And it would take, if I did try to sit there and just make a linear a progressive line of how all the things I love about the episode, it would take so long. So just bits and pieces. I mean, because I've watched it so many times, folks. It is just, but I think that last scene really, really sends it over the top. He thinks he's killed Kirk.
Yeah.
I kind of use this every time. It's always a temptation to me when someone says "live long and prosper" to me.
Yeah.
I have to stop myself from saying, "I shall do neither," for I have killed my captain.
I always say peace and long life, and then they always look at me and go, "Oh my God, you really do watch the show."
Exactly.
I think it's because I go to the con and I don't know, maybe I don't look like a nerd. I don't know, but maybe it's the costumes, maybe it's the cosplay I choose. But yeah, whenever it's live long and prosper, peace and long life. Oh, you really watch the show.
Yeah, chicks don't watch Star Trek, remember?
Yeah, right.
No, yeah. So yeah, and it's just, but it's one of the great scenes ever. When and you mentioned it earlier, when he realizes that Kirk is alive, and it's just Captain Jim. I mean,
yeah, Captain Jim. Oh, we have a request from the chat. Okay, so all of the Steves are here. So it's time to get Canadian. These are the Steves I know. 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 It's actually supposed to be sung that poorly too, folks. And if you get the Canadian joke, he actually sings it goofy like that on purpose, and it's very odd, and it's just a hysterical. You have to watch Kids in the Hall.
But when you have that many Steves.
Yeah, where's Fat Steven Seagal tonight? Fat Steven Seagal, if you're lurking out there, you better get your butt to the chat, mister.
I don't know if he's here, but if he, but three, we have three. So when you get three, the song has to happen.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yes, again, and then the McCoy all of a sudden, because he knew he saved Kurt's ass. He knew he was never upset. So just Spock, what happened to her? The girl, the wedding, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah, the Spock's just back. Oh yes, the girl. And I just I don't know. I remember someone mentioned earlier Raymond Feliciano did mention earlier, because can't follow everything in there. It would take us long. So, but they have so much fun in there. That, as we all know, in the 4th season of Enterprise, we saw basically a very young version of T'Pau.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying that, when he looks back at this episode, he thinks that they cast her pretty well. Well, I mean, she's damn old by the time this episode happens.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I would say that was a pretty good casting. Now that you mention it, Raymond. Yeah.
I think so too. Especially the body type. I think the body type was bang on. The women who are just, I don't know. She's very petite. I don't know how tall she is in real life, but just very. I almost want to use the word dainty. And so, great casting. Now that you point that out, that is an extremely good point. To find a dainty, but striking looking woman like that is not easy. So, my hat's off to the casting on that one, because in Enterprise, we sure get a great T'Pau.
Yes. Yeah. And I don't know the lady's name, but I can't remember her name, but there we go. It was 3 Steves. You get an egg roll or something. There you go. And free chopsticks. Well, again, what more can you say about Amok Time? You could do a whole show on it. There's some episodes that are so great. You could do 2-3 hours on, because because some of those shows, like I love like Critical Drinker, for example, who does shows. Sometimes he has Doomcock, sometimes he has Gary or Az on there, and they'll talk about a movie or so, whatever, and they'll go 3-4 hours just going through the whole thing in depth. You can't do that here. We would be doing. It would take us like 50 years to do all the Trek episodes.
It would.
Yeah. So I will simply say then, I love this episode very, very much.
Yes.
It is just prime Star Trek. It is wonderful, and it seems the chat loves it too. So now we are to our rating stage, my friend, my number one. And what I will do is, of course, as always, as traditional, ask you for your rating, give mine, and then we will say, chat, let her rip.
A+.
Agreed. 2 A+ from us. Beautiful, wonderful, just supreme Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Ratings, my friends, in the chat. Go
Depending
for it.
upon how old I am and where I am in my life and what I'm doing, because everybody knows, everybody here, if you're familiar with this show, you know that I watch over 657 hours of Star Trek every single year. So depending upon where I'm at in my life, and like what I'm reading and what I'm doing for a living and stuff like that, this makes my top 10, sometimes top 20, sometimes top 10. It depends. But this year, it's gunning really high. This is like, might even burst the top 5 or 6.
It's my top. I think it's my number 3. Or it's right. Yeah. If I look at, I may have switched it around. It's right. It's 3 for me. I love it so much. And now my great friend Ace Castiron, NCC 1701. That's his rating. Is that me? Is that an A+, brother? I don't know, man. I love the call letter.
Ace, get off the fence right now. Give me an actual number. Give us something we can sink our teeth into here.
Yes, indeed, man.
Don't leave us hanging, Ace. We count on you. Give us your full rating, unvarnished. It could be good, it could be bad, and you don't have to defend yourself here. But I just want to know what you think.
Well, I think that might be his way of a secret. That is a secret code. That is Starfleet code for
number 1,
an A+, probably. Yeah,
yeah, because it's number 1, right? It's the OG. It's the original gangster.
I guess.
Oh,
Wade, an A+. James Gazzetta, an A-. Let's see here. A from the wonderful Sandra Feliciano. And we've got from Raymond Feliciano. We have an A and 4.
Oh, he really likes it.
4 things that I don't know exactly what those.
Oh, those are hearts. They're beautiful hearts. So that might be directed at his wife, the great Sandra Feliciano. These two are super romantic. It's like 2 brains with hearts in between them. So that could be towards the episode, or it could be just towards his lovely and brilliant wife, and they're a power couple. So that happens here.
Indeed. Excellent. Mark D with a C. A+, 5 out of 5 Lirpas. If both survive the Lirpa, combat will continue with the Moon.
Yeah, I want a Lirpa. Do you know what I mean?
I want a Lirpa bad. I've always wanted a Lirpa. Not an Umloon, you can make one of those easy, but a Lirpa, that's what I want. A wonderful exposition of Vulcan rituals and customs. But the best part is the deep friendship between Kirk Spock. It is. It's just a fabulous episode for that. Absolutely wonderful.
Beautifully said. Absolutely agree. Stephen Ernest, great.
Yes, indeed. A+ and a 10. Indeedishness. The Cyber Elf. I rate this one as the best shows of TOS. Well, thank you.
One of the best shows of TOS. Yes. Great.
So, excuse me.
That's okay.
A+ as well for the James.
All right, James.
Let's see. I give this episode 10 out of 10. Learning more Bilbo Baggins videos.
The way he sings Bilbo Baggins, it's just TMF. I can't help it. I'm attracted to the man, no matter. Even though the song is ridiculous, I'm still attracted to Leonard Nimoy. It's a sickness.
Well, what could I say? There's nothing wrong with that. A+ top T5, my friend.
Scuba Pete.
Oh, me, Scuba Pete. I'm sorry. I don't know why I do that. Yeah, Lord Thoth, ladies and gentlemen.
What?
We have an A. We have an A. Period.
What?
A.
The famously squeaky with his grades, Lord Thoth has bestowed an A upon Amok Time.
It's like he's Fonzie with an A. There you go. Way to go, brother. Man, I love it. Let's see. For those who know, for those of you who know, last night Shellback. Yeah, I know Shellback. TJC. Oh, went to the hospital. He's now back home. Oh, I did not know he went to like Shellback out there, brother. I know you're probably not listening now, but he's a good, cool dude and a bud. Shellback. I hope you feel better, Ron.
I don't know who you are, Shellback TJC, but I wish you well and a speedy recovery.
He is a good dude. I like me some Shellback. He's one of my buds there. A fun, cool feller, and I hope he's doing well. I did not know he was having trouble.
I absolutely love that TMF is saying here that Star Trek is half Canadian, and so is the chat. TMF, you are correct.
Right, we love our Canadian friends here. A+, this particular episode is iconic indeed, Mr. Rod Thunderhunt. I totally agree. A great Crispeja. An A.
I love you, Chris. That's a great rating.
Too low an A. Just kidding. Yes, the great Maddie's Daddy. And A+, a pond too far.
Why do you always make me ugly laugh? You guys, it's so bad.
Oh, yes, let's see. Raquel has a very well-ordered mind. Yes, I've ordered her mind, and the shipping is just astronomical. It's so huge.
Oh, I love you, Mark D, with the C. Thank you so much.
Indeed. Let's see here. Mr. Spock, you have a very pragmatic and very analytical mind.
Yeah.
Let's see here. A minus 9 out of 0 for to Pringles.
No, to Pringles.
To Pringles. Oh God, it is to Pringles.
I started something bad.
Enough for Pond. Not being hot enough. Arlene Martell.
Really?
Arlene Martell, dude. She was in. Not only was she in that, she was in a lot of shows.
What do you think of that other girl who played T'Pau? Then what was her name again? Cara Zedfried or Zeig? I forget her name.
Enterprise, you mean? I can't remember her name.
Which one do you like better than Jesus is my King 68 or Jesus is my King 68?
Dude, Arlene Martell was smoking. Man, she was also in the great episode of Outer Limits, Demon with a Glass Hand, and many, many other things. And I met her in person when she was later. She was a nice lady too. Yeah,
but she also had the Ice Witch trope down like pat. Like she had it down.
There you go. Now we got you.
Highest rating. No,
there it is.
So I was right. I was right.
As he and I have often said to each other, no bloody A, B, C, or D.
Highest rating, no refit. And coincidentally, that's actually my choice as well, Ace.
James Cutter, A+. Okay, yeah. This is an iconic episode indeed. I agree. Canadian Spider-Man who does whatever a Canadian Spider-Man can. I give it an A+. So quotable, sets up so much for years to come. Even gave us to Paul, having Pon far in Enterprise, a dream I would love to live. Oh man, he's always got something to say about the wonderful to Paul. And I'm with that. Dr. Hercule Monkey. Hey, mock time. My A+ mock time. I see what you did there. Dude, that is fantastic.
So much punning. So much punning. I love this chat.
Doc Hercule Monkey for the win. Oh man. Yes, indeed. Let's see if we got everyone's. Okay, I think we got everybody. Oh, we got Ash now.
What did Eric do? Yeah, Eric and Ash. I want to know what Eric and Ash wanted.
Eric was an A+ there.
Eric was an A+. Okay.
This episode was beautifully done. We get lots of Vulcan. We get lots of info on Vulcans, and it's a Spock episode. I awarded a Pon for. I mean an A. Thank you, sir.
Excellent.
James has rated it a few times there. My great buddy Flash is an A+ as well.
Oh, great.
Yo, buddy. I think I'm just making sure we got all the ratings before we move on. And I think we do. Okay, well, everyone, I think we've got all of our ratings.
We have.
And I'm trying to catch up to the chat there. It moves so fast on me. And again, it looks far different to me, everyone, than it does on the YouTube end of it over here. Arlene Mattel said that between scenes, Shatner was hitting on her. Well, who wouldn't? While Nimoy was quiet and stoic, staying in his character.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I have it's tough to blame him. I'm sorry. She was. Good Lord, I love her.
Oh, did I miss a comment from Eric K? It's 16 minutes past the hour. He says, Raquel, I made the comment, of course, about Paul, Jolene, Blalock having Pon farr. Yeah, I mean, is there a man alive who wouldn't like to have Pon farr with her? I know my husband absolutely loves her. She is the cream of the crop for him. Like she's the best.
Oh. Man, I'm right there with him.
One of the most maligned and hated characters, and I have no idea why. Not only is she beautiful, but she's actually a Trekkie and actually put the work in to behave like a Vulcanian. And I love her. I think she's great.
Oh, God,
I think that if you're jealous because somebody's beautiful, you just need to sit down and be quiet.
Fair enough. Oh, absolutely. I'm jealous of whoever gets to be with her. That's what I'm jealous of.
Yeah, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. So I haven't seen her in anything in a long time, but
I think she went back to just like having a quiet, normal life. But I heard that she is like an absolute doll. Like I've heard that, like when you meet her, she's that was a very Irish saying that I just said. How would I? Not a doll, like a sweetheart of a woman. Do you know what I mean? And that's an Irish saying when you say, oh, somebody's a doll. I don't mean like she's a doll, like she's a blow-up doll or something. No, I mean like she's like a sweetheart of a woman. Apparently she's supposed to be really smart and really funny and very warm and kind. So wherever she is, hey, come do the show with us. We love you.
Yes. Oh, Jolene Blaylock can be on the show anytime with us there.
Yeah.
I'm the only person of the Enterprise cast I've met is Connor Trenier. But let's see here. Well, on to the next episode. And again, we're in the rarefied air again, in my opinion. The Doomsday Machine, my friends.
We are. Yeah. So the Doomsday Machine, you're going to see on your streaming services in most of the world. I think sometimes it's a little different across the pond, but you're going to be seeing that as season 2, episode 6. But of course, here we're doing it in prod code. So that's prod code 35. And if you turn to your block text, and also to stay within copyright, we are on a tile 177 or 178. And unless there's anything else, should I get underway, Clobby?
Please.
All right, let's do it.
Go.
Well,
first officer.
Okay. While investigating the destruction of several planetary systems, the Enterprise detects the crippled hulk of the USS Constellation drifting lifeless in space. But one of the ship's crew remains aboard and alive. The Constellation's commander, Commodore Matt Decker. In a state of shock, Decker claims his vessel encountered a gigantic mobile weapon that was pulverizing the planets around it, swallowing them up. The Constellation attempted to destroy this monstrosity, only to suffer severe damage from its energy rays. In an effort to save his crew, Decker admits that he beamed the entire complement down to one of the worlds in the system, which is later destroyed by the Berserker. The Enterprise soon tracks down this planet killer, and Spock reveals that the machine is on a course for one of the most densely inhabited regions of the galaxy. Clearly, it must be stopped. But with Kirk and Scotty off the ship repairing the Constellation, Decker takes it upon himself to go after the planet killer with the Enterprise. Star Trek was always running out of money, which explains a lot about the series' production values. Which also explains why I think you should watch it in production code. Series production values. With few exceptions, landing party missions almost always were shot on a soundstage with colored gel filters providing an unearthly hue of alien worlds. Costumes, sets, props, and episodic music cues often were recycled for later episodes to stretch the show's budget just a little further. Thus, when Gene Roddenberry contacted writer Norman Spinrad and asked him to pitch an episode for Star Trek, it was not surprising that the executive producer also gave him a proviso. Think of a story that would use only the show's standing sets. As it turned out, Spinrad, had long toyed with the idea of doing a science fiction take on Herman Melville's Moby Dick, or the white whale. And that was the idea he pitched. Roddenberry liked it, and Spinrad set to work on what became the Doomsday Machine. With the redress of the Enterprise sets standing in for those of the sister ship, the Constellation, the only new element the producers needed to source was the killer planet itself. Spinrad provided a few inspirational sketches and then went to work on something else. The writer was surprised when he saw what episode aired. Why, he wondered, did the planet killer look less high-tech and less of an insanely powerful berserker than a windsock dipped in cement? We ran out of money, Roddenberry apologized. Spinrad had a good eye. The planet killer was a windsock that had been dipped in cement. At the time Norman Spinrad received the assignment to write his Star Trek homage to Moby Dick, he was told that the actor Robert Ryan had expressed an interest in appearing on the series and would likely be cast as the story's Ahab, Commodore Decker. It seemed like a good fit. Ryan, once a Marine drill instructor at Camp Pendleton, California, made a career out of playing tough-as-nails characters, from the anti-Semitic killer in Crossfire to a fierce, aging gunfire in The Wild Bunch. So Spinrad shaped Decker's persona with Ryan in mind, only to later learn that actor William Wyndham had been given the role. Apparently, Ryan's schedule had precluded his appearance on the series. Wyndham's take on Decker was softer than the writer had anticipated. Rather than a vengeful force of nature, his Ahab was a tortured soul whose guilt over the death of his crew drives him to deadly obsession. Nevertheless, Wyndham's performance is strikingly powerful and made a lasting impression on viewers. At 86 years old, he remains a popular guest at Star Trek conventions. Sol Kaplan's score to the Doomsday Machine is one of the few that actually qualifies as a full Star Trek soundtrack. Many of the musical cues written for this episode eventually would be scattered throughout later ones, but here they work together as a unified piece, like a symphonic score. The episode opens to the sound of a muted trumpet, conjuring connotations of a military funeral, then joins with mournful cellos as the Enterprise gets its very first view of the mortally wounded Constellation. Later, the trumpet pairs with the snare drums fast roll, giving a martial feel to the escalating conflict between Spock and Decker on board the Enterprise. In fact, each component of the story gets a theme, from the variations on Alexander Courage's familiar fanfare for the Enterprise, which also, by extension, represents Kirk in his scenes on the Constellation, to the cacophonous mix of low woodwinds, trumpet horn blasts, and nervous piano that represents the planet killer itself, pounding relentlessly as the thing comes closer and closer, maw stretched wide to swallow up all in its path like a shark approaching its victim. The blockbuster movie Jaws, with its iconic theme painting a vivid portrait of a sleek, voracious killer on the prowl, was still 8 years in the future. Kaplan's theme for the planet killer seemed eerily prescient. Could John Williams be a secret trekker? And that is all Block has to say about the Doomsday Machine. And before I get to my notes, I'm going to turn it over to the chat, and I'm going to turn it over to Clobby. What did you think of this coverage, and any info that you would like to bring to light for the chat?
Well, excellent. No, it was excellent coverage. The only thing I would add is that I don't know if anyone knows this, but Norman Spinrad, of course, was a very accomplished science fiction writer and author in his own right. Before and after that, actually wrote. It's been a long time now. He wrote there's an unshot Star Trek script that he wrote called "He Walks Among Us," which I have it somewhere. I don't know where I have. We bought it back in the '80s, so it's been about the early '80s since I've read it, so I couldn't tell you a lot about it. But it later they found it and put it on. I don't know, put it in some. I don't know if they put it in a book or what they did, but yeah. So he did write two, but that's the only one that got made. I don't know if anyone knew that one. So it's just a little tidbit about Norman Spinrad, the writer of this.
Well, he's been nominated for numerous Hugo Awards and Nebula Awards. So yeah, he's an accomplished writer.
Yes, I do know that he went to, I think David Gerald was actually working with the Next Generation people early on or whatever as on one of the writing staffs. It was Gerald and some others, and had mentioned that, I had that script that, you guys, if he was talking about trying to sell the same story to TNG or whatever. And they said that now we're going to do something like that already. And he was not happy, but I don't know if anything came of that, but this one again, folks, we're in my top 10 again. In fact, I might have this one rated at 9. Yeah, maybe this is 4. Yeah, this is 4 for me. In fact, inside of my top 5. I love it. I love it, and I love it. This is it is I didn't know the windsock part. That was fun to learn. I've got to admit, I had not heard that before. I always, as a kid, I was like, so it's a giant ice cream cone. Attacking everyone.
I unfortunately knew it was a windsock, so
I had not heard that. I don't know why, but I'm not for the observance, I suppose. But just again, man, what do you say when you want? It's easier for me to talk about an episode that I think is really good or really interesting, that thinks a top notch or a solid one. I could talk all day on it. When it's one I love this much, I don't know where to go.
Well, do you want me to do my notes and then we can just start hashing it out then?
Yeah, that would be fantastic.
Okay, so
let's talk about it. Yeah.
Jimmy Doohan said this is his favorite episode. Okay, so he just absolutely loves this because it covers so much, engineering. He loved it. William Wyndon has said at Comic-Cons that he did not enjoy being on Star Trek at the time of the taping because Bill and Leonard were fighting and being on set was extremely awkward. He also said that the story he thought that the story at the time was stupid. He thought it was silly. So he was acting melodramatic and overacting on purpose because he felt, a fool. It wasn't until years later that someone told him the story was based on Moby Dick, the white whale, and that he was supposed to be, emoting Captain Ahab. So I'm pretty sure that he felt fairly foolish about that. But you can also tell that he's a humble and wonderful person because he admitted it in public. So if you were one of those people who was not touched by his performance and perhaps felt that he was a little over the top, like myself, you are a very perceptive human. He was overdoing it, and it's kind of sad. Anyway, production was completed early on this particular episode. As you know, I like to discuss the fact that when we're falling behind and we have no money, Daniels had a bet with his producers. They bet $500 that they could finish early, and so they finished 1 day early. So good for them because, of course, we're always falling behind when we don't have CGI, when we have to make things, when we have to craft things, when we have to hire artisans to make beautiful things, to create the world of pretend, to move the furniture of the mind. It's not cheap or easy or quick. Also from my notes, Nichelle is missing, as she was not considered a regular cast member at this point. She was actually considered what is called a day player. So that is just above an extra with the studio. And there were union rules about how many episodes she was allowed to be on. This episode was nominated for a Hugo Award. DC Fontana named this her least favorite episode. So she didn't like
Really?
this episode at all.
Wow.
Lieutenant Palmer, now this is very important because I want you to pay attention here, because this is not stuff that you're going to find on some silly wiki. This is from actually watching the show. So Lieutenant, if you notice here, Lieutenant Palmer is in Uhura's place, but do you notice that she needs 2 engineers to help her? She cannot rewire the entire comm system like Uhura can. And Uhura would never need help from anyone. As a matter of fact, when Spock approaches her when she is rewiring the ship and rewiring the comm systems and the computers, Spock says, "Well, I see you have this well in hand. I'm going to get out from underneath you. I'm going to get out of your way." So that's her ability there. So we clearly see that Lieutenant Palmer is like a telephone operator, and Nichelle Nichols, Uhura, is a Comtech engineer. She's a communications and technology engineer. She's a department head, and of course, I'll remind everyone that by Roddenberry's specific written choice, she is 4th in command. I like to bring this episode to the forefront because I believe, now this is just my opinion, that this may have been where this silly speculation about Uhura being a linguist was born. And we're going to talk a little bit more because there's actually another episode in this chain that we're going to discuss where we see Gene Roddenberry clearly defining the role he wanted for Nichelle Nichols. So yeah, and that's all I have for my notes on that. And I hope that I brought something to light that perhaps the folks didn't know about.
Indeed. By the way, didn't we see Lieutenant Palmer in another one? Was it?
Yeah.
Wasn't she in the Turnabout Intruder or something like that? I can't remember. Maybe not.
Elizabeth Rogers is in a couple of episodes.
Okay, I'm not sure which ones, but gotcha. Just curious.
Yeah.
Well, Uhura probably, they all get a little shore leave every now and then. She could have been, taking a little leave or something like that, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, Art and Feliciano, that's interesting. There was Richard Basehart, or you just wish he'd have played Decker. I don't know. That would have been weird. Richard Basehart, I love him, but I don't know about him as Decker. That would have been kind of strange. I mean, Admiral Nelson, and he was too busy on the Seaview, buddy. Little obscure 60s obscura right there. Just TV obscura. Let's see. In addition to yes, William Wyndham. Well, I did not know Wyndham was such. I mean, I've heard things about him saying some really dumb shit, but I mean, in addition to yes, he was the president in The Wonderful Escape from the Planet of the Apes. True, I love that movie. Yeah, well, he did do a show called My World and Welcome to It. Wasn't he like a cartoonist or something like that? And that
I like him. I think it's great because everybody tries to always act like they know more than they know, and I only know that I don't know. That's where I'm at. And as a matter of fact, the more you learn in your life, the more knowledge you accumulate, the more you realize just how stupid you actually are.
Yes.
And so, that's how I feel. So what I love about it is that he had never read The White Whale. Now, I have read The White Whale. I have literally an ancient copy of it. A super, super old copy of it. I think the font is 6 point.
Wow.
Old leather bound. I don't even know what edition it is. I'm not going to even venture a guess. But it is a difficult read because it starts off exploring this mapping of the biosphere, the biological system, and so the first couple of chapters can be quite dry and it's older English, so people have difficulty reading it, and a lot of people put it down. But I love that he just nakedly was not affectatious at all. He just nakedly came out and said, "Look, I don't know anything about this. Oopsie, my bad. And just that wonderful naivete and that wonderful honesty, that naked honesty, sure makes me like him, and it makes me forgive him for acting like a nincompoop.
Well, yes, fair. Fair. Oh, look, I think he was a great actor. Really, he was in a lot of stuff though. Toxic Man Flu. Come on, when you get out of here.
Oh, TMF, I love you. What a great comment. So funny. Giant space anus.
Canadian Spider-Man. That never happened in real Star Trek, so I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No. I know not of what you speak, my friend. Let's see here. Oh, My World and Welcome to It. When that show didn't last long. That's like late 60s. That's so obscure. I mean, I never even got to see it. I was too young to even get to see that. Even I was too young to watch that show. Let's see here.
Mark Twain said, paraphrasing, when I was 15, I knew my parents were quite ignorant. At 13, I was astonished by how much. Yeah, it's so funny. I of course believe in Socrates' philosophy about, the only things that I know is that I don't know. And I'm always in this state of learning. But it's just really funny because I'm an avid reader. But by the time I got to grad school and started studying all the upper echelons of graduate study in philosophy, I was reading a great deal of these books. And so you get to class and the professor hasn't unfurled the lecture yet. And so it's only when you get to class that you connect to the fact that it's Foucault. When you get to the class where you connect that it's Barthes, when you get to the class and you connect to the fact that it's Goethe. And so this is also why whenever people are correcting other people's pronunciation and stuff like that, I used to be quite confident about things like that. And then I got to grad school and I started getting my mind open to all of these greater and far more difficult concepts in philosophy. And then you realize that the people who are sometimes making those mistakes are actually the people who are reading it. They're not going to the Wikipedia to just pick up the word and pretend like they read it. So I absolutely love when people say, I don't know. And so absolutely lovely comment, Steve Mitchum. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Indeed. Needlessness. By the way, R.N. Feliciano said base art was in Moby Dick. Which one? The Gregory Peck one or whatever? Good old base art. As an Air Force vet, says Lord Thoth, and a currently serving Mountie who has diagnosed PTSD. This episode really hits home. Wyndham should have won an award. A lot of us have our white whales, our trauma. Love this right there with you, my brother. Yeah. And thank you.
Hey, you. Hey, you. South. I want you to know that I appreciate your service, and I appreciate that you have heaped those sins upon your own back, the sins of our society on your own back, and that you flung yourself into that situation to defend us. And Lord Thoth, the fact that is a ghost that now haunts you. It's the shadow that's sewn to your soul. I am so sorry. I find that so regrettable, but you are just so brave and wonderful that I must take this moment to pause and say thank you. Thank you so much for your service.
Absolutely. Thank you, Lord Thoth. Absolutely. Thank you. And my great friend Ace, and anyone else out there who is a vet or who's out there or serving currently. Thank you. We love you. James Roddenberry was the white whale. Was he? Maybe to somebody. I don't know. Oh, jeez. Oh, my God. You silly bunch. Which Star Trek the motion picture? Yeah, I had mentioned Will Decker being the son of Matt Decker instead of just being an obscure fact. In the audience won't give it. I think, if I remember correctly now, maybe I could be misremembering this. In the original script that was made for Phase 2, which was pretty much later turned into the motion picture, which was called In Thy Image, and Decker was, Will Decker was a part of the crew. In that case, it was not supposed to, he was supposed to be a recurring member of the crew. I think they do mention in that. They may even mention it in the novel, which has Roddenberry's name on it. Although Alan Dean Foster may have actually wrote it.
Hey, do you know that I have a first edition of that, and I got it for Christmas?
Oh, what the motion picture?
Yeah,
Oh
I
yeah,
I
novel.
have a
Nice.
first edition. My husband ordered it from me from a collection house, and it was delivered here sealed and confirmed as first edition. So I have it in my
Nice.
greedy little mitts.
Oh, am I remembering it correctly that Roddenberry is at least listed as the author on that? Okay. Some say Alan Dean Foster goes to it, but I don't know. Roddenberry might have. I don't think when this got time, maybe he had time to do it. I
Yeah,
don't
but
know.
I think to be quite honest with you, and
I don't know if it's true or not.
at the risk of insulting some people, not yours or anyone in our present company, but I just mean people at large. They sort of fake read books, and I think that if people actually read the TMP, I think they would be shocked. Like even
It's
right
good.
right off the hop, knowing that all Starfleet officers had an implant, and
Yes.
his implant goes off, and that's how he knows something's wrong. And so, yeah, I don't know. I'm with you, Clobby. The thing is that the fact that he was so open about the fact that people used his ideas and wrote them down and changed them, and the fact that he was abusing drugs and that he admitted he was abusing drugs to write. He had a big Stephen King chapter in his life, and the fact that his wife came to his defense, that Majel came to his defense and said, "My husband was a writer." And that he had all these regrets about what fell into what would be called production and what fell into what he actually wrote himself, and that those lines became blurred. I think it was a huge disservice to a man who was an absolute genius, and just he was just wonderful. So I err on the side of caution as you do, and I'm not quick to go, oh, me.
No, but I did like the way you said that though. Especially that last part.
Is that how you see? That's
Yeah.
how I see Dreckers, like full on Dreckers or Dreckies. Anyway.
We have a fantastic friend and has joined us tonight. The great retro blasting.
Oh, so nice to see you.
Hey, buddy. Oh my goodness.
Oh, and Project Storytime.
Now, Project Storytime, welcome, my friend. Everyone, again, as I said at the outset of the program tonight, and please, there is a link in my description below, not only to the Retro Blasting's amazing page, but also the video that I'm dude, man, and I hope to be talking about it with you soon. I'm so honored to be on that thing with you, and I really just love the way it came out. Pride of the X-Men, folks. Please go watch that video on Retro Blasting. And he's also a big Trek fan as well. They both are. I don't know if that's Michael or Melinda or anyone else there. Love you, and so glad to see you. Doomsday Machine is fantastic, though. I mean, Doomsday Machine. Hey there, Project Storytime. Great to see you, my friend. It is, again, like I said, it's kind of strange. Every time we get to one of these episodes, it's a top fiver for me. I don't know where to begin. Like I said, if we're talking about one that I thought was a good, solid, really good episode, I can go I can find a starting point. I can't find a starting point with this one. You've pretty much covered most of it in terms of, when you did the synopsis there. And
I aim to please.
Well, yeah, you're the best at that. You're the best at that. And it's just brilliant. So many wonderful scenes, especially I think probably the best stuff is, of course, on the bridge with Spock and Decker for me. What a clash. It's my great buddy Michael French. Hey, Bo. Good to see you, bro. It's a great clash between the two of them.
Yeah.
It's some of the most memorable stuff in Star Trek. And the blooper always pops into my head. I'm sorry. I don't know if you watched the bloopers as much as I have, but when Nimoy is when he goes, "If you do not veer off, I shall," and he stopped, blow my brains out. What? I don't know what pops in there. But I dearly love this episode. And I guess look, we've talked a lot about it. We could probably get moving to the next one. So we're coming to what is rapid, I think, becoming probably both of our favorites, or one of our favorite segments of the show.
Yes.
When we do our ratings. Are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, everyone, here we go now. I'm going to get Raquel's rating on the Doomsday Machine. and give mine, and then I'm going to ask our wonderful, just spectacular chat to give us theirs. So, Raquel, my dear first officer, my good friend, what is your rating on the Doomsday Machine?
Well, Captain, I'm going to give it an A minus.
Nice. Nice. We're still in the A's. That's all.
Yes.
I love it. It's another A pluser for me. Again, this is a top fiver for me. As I've said, we've had 2 top fivers in a row. Wow. And because we're doing in production order, of course.
Yep.
But that's fine with me because production order is the way to do it. So we're gonna start getting our ratings here. I'm a top 5. You're an A minus. I am an A plus.
And I want to clarify, the only reason why I'm an A minus is because I detect when you feel the centrifugal force moving away from that nucleus that creates the magic. So when Kuhn, Roddenberry, and Fontana are together, that is when my skin tingles and I feel magic. And so here I can feel the centrifugal force. The water is evaporating from that nucleus, unfortunately, because it's Norman Spinrad. So excellent showing, produced to great effect, wonderful writing, had a great time. But yeah, not the nucleus that makes my heart sing. And that nucleus is just glorious. The writing of Gene Roddenberry, Gene L. Kuhn, and DC Fontana. So that is me clarifying why an A minus. And I feel like a total heel. Sorry, back to you, Clobby.
That's a wonderful rating. But look, when you're in the A, you're that's amazing. I like what Lord Doth says here. This one has everything: suspense, a moral conundrum, sacrifice, trauma, death, destruction, anti-war rhetoric, camaraderie, discipline, space combat, logic, passion, and an unwinnable fight. That is well said, sir.
So articulate, and I like that's right off the cuff. Like that,
he's the man, Lord.
It's so evocative that he can say that off the cuff, and that's when you know that what you're watching is actually something that is really good. It's moving the furniture of your mind. It's moving your soul around, and wonderful comments. Thank you so much, Lord Thoth.
Well, before we start with the audience ratings, I will say that we'd be remiss if we didn't, and I can't remember if this was a Fred Steiner score for this episode or whomever it was, but that music for the Doomsday Machine, I've always equated it with, in my opinion, probably the greatest movie soundtrack of all time, or one of them. It's my favorite anyway, and Flash and I agree on this one, is Jaws by John Williams. Yeah. And that theme in this boom, 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 boom.
Yeah. Well, that's Soul or Saul Kaplan. So I'm not sure how to pronounce it because I believe Kaplan is actually a Hebrew or a Jewish last name, and Soul, obviously, that could be from anything, and indicative of the sun. So that's Soul Kaplan.
Okay. Well, it's wonderful, and that beat reminds me of Jaws, or vice versa. I mean, it was before Jaws, of course, but reminds me of that. Now, John Williams, calling himself Johnny Williams at the time, was working in television. The great John Williams, and he did, of course, the score for the show I Love, Lost in Space, and many others. So I don't know, but it always reminded me of that. So it's a great score. We don't say enough about some of the scores to these episodes. Fred Steiner, and then the Saul Kaplan that you mentioned.
Yeah,
I'm getting it right. So yes. All right, now we're going to start with our ratings. James Caserta is an A++.
So it looks like Miranda B was a little shy and she didn't leave a rating last time. And Maddie's daddy was like, Steve Mitchum was like, "You're a part of our crew now. I want a rating." So it looks like Miranda B left a rating this time. So great job there, Steve Mitchum. And it's so nice to hear your rating, Miranda B.
Well, yes, and we're going to get to that, and I'm glad. I would love it. I want to see everybody's rating. Everyone's. We have such a great crew that really knows Trek here. Toxic Man Flu says there are 2 problems remembering these shows. First, the lens of age. I was 10 then, and my 10-year-old self had a different perspective. Second is age. I am 40 years on, and my memory is gone. Well, my memory is. If your memory's gone, I'm way older than you, and mine's really toast. Okay, let me get to my ratings here. Yes, Mark with the Newsy
I
Machine
think
is a similar idea to Galactus, Planet Eater from yeah, and there's a Galactus element in one sense, yeah.
I'm going to warn you right now, Clobby, that Sandra Feliciano, the great Sandra Feliciano, threw out her rating very early on as soon as you engaged the chat. So I believe she gave it a B. It might be a B plus, but it's pretty
Yeah,
high up in that chat. It may have disappeared.
I got it. I got it
Oh,
right here.
did you get it?
Yes.
Okay, great. Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Gotcha. A top 5 episode for my buddy. Same here.
Yay!
Raymond Feliciano is a top 5er. Let's see here. Project Story Time. Decker's performance is amazing. It's a heartbreaking look at a captain who is so broken. Yeah, absolutely. Commodore Decker's again. And by the way, we all know he actually came back to life in a fan film. I'll explain later on.
Yes.
Let's see here. B for Sandra. It's off the scale. James Caserta says. I don't know if that's a high rating there. An A plus.
Oh, for James Caserta to say something like that. Wow, James, thank you so much. So yeah, really touched by this episode. So cool.
Yes, indeed. The great Rod Thunderheart, A plus, but I'm biased. Well, good. Be biased. It's Trek. You should be biased. Let's see. Spock is just biding his time, waiting for Decker to open the door to strip him of his command. A plus, my second favorite episode behind Devil in the Dark. That's my buddy Flash. He missed our Devil in the Dark show, and
Devil in the Dark will always be in my top 3 of all time. When my daughter was little, she watched that show, and I always tell this story whenever I'm on the streams, but she asked me if it was scary because she was quite small. And I said, no, honey, because the devil in the dark is us. And so it's a philosophical lesson. Exactly. So Devil in the Dark is absolutely amazing. And Flash, I just absolutely love that moment where we meet that peak awkwardness betwixt Decker and Spock, and then just that sense of release when Captain Kirk just says, "Look, I'm ordering you as the captain of the Enterprise. Take control immediately." The guy's he calls him a lunatic. You're the lunatic who's in charge of my ship. So yeah, Flash. This is such a succinct comment filled with so much knowledge about what happens in this episode. Such a great rating. Thank you so much, Flash.
Not with my ship, you don't.
Yeah.
Great scene. I love it. That Toxic Man Flu is an A plus. Anytime I get to say
space anus is a plus. So folks, he has a little bit of a lower test for A plus than Lord Thoth.
Whatever gets into that A. A Vulcanians never bluff A plus.
Yes.
If they had a decontamination gel scene with DePaul, it would be too many. You probably your heart wouldn't take it, Eric.
You would probably drop dead. And can we just say for the 2 wags of a dog's tail? I just want to say here, Eric K, you are an outstanding human being to me because you said Vulcanian instead of using the newer Vulcan. So I love you for that. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
Indeed. Although the line though from Spock is Vulcans never bluff.
Yes, but Vulcanian is more correct. I love you, Eric K. Mwah, mwah, mwah.
I remember Elias Sandoval used it in This Side of Paradise. I'm not sure how many times it was used, but yes. Yeah. Yes. There you go. Excellent. But the Canadian Spider-Man who does whatever a Canadian spider can gives it an A. Thank you, my brother. Let's see. The great Dr. Hercumonkey. Yes, gives it an A. Doom's A machine. I love your ratings, man. You always got something fun for us. Yeah. Dr. Hercumonkey rocks, man. 10 out of 10 from my buddy.
10 out of 10.
Thank
you. So
buddy.
Lots of love for this episode. Just keep it flowing. Oh, and the great just walked in the room.
Oh, good. I haven't got that for you. Welcome. Yes, right. Definitely. Eric K says, "Hail Retro Blasting." If you're out there, buddy, Retro Blasting rules. Anybody, if you've not gone to that channel, you're missing out. It's one of the great ones on YouTube, my friends. Let's see here. Okay, here we go with we always gotta get a fun one from Mark D with the C as well. A 5 out of 5 wins. Oh, great action. And Kirk uses his brain to figure out a way to destroy the machine, which gives meaning to Decker's sacrifice. Beautifully said. That is absolutely just what a great one. Jesus is my savior. My king, sorry, 68. B plus 8.7 with 8 out of 10 white whales for Ahab Decker wanting to sacrifice the starship to the Spainus. Dude.
Jesus.
He's a character, that Jesus. A plus 10 out of 10 60s karate chops from the great Daddy's Daddy. Thank you,
I
buddy.
believe you mean Kirk Fu, Steve Mitchum.
Yeah, Kirk Fu.
Get it together, bud.
Yes, Kirk Fu. Oh my goodness. Scuba Pete A.
Scuba Pete.
The struggle between Decker and Kirk. Yes.
It's great. A gooder.
And we did, he does, that fight, that karate chop fight that with it should be said that when Decker has to take out the security dude, that guy puts up a fight. Security guys usually just get their crap kicked out of without even doing anything. So he puts up a good fight with a older but more experienced officer. So, good on that guy. He probably went far in Starfleet.
Okay, the chat is blowing up about something that Miranda B said. Like somebody said it's hysterical. What's going on? What did Miranda B say? And it's nice to see that we have a new person in our community.
Yes, indeed. We're going to get there. Let me get through these ratings here. This is one of my top 3 episodes of all time. Same here, buddy. It hits me hard every time. Wow, on 2 A pluses in a row.
What? Are you going soft on us, Lord Thoth? What are you, dude? I had the faith of your armor. You were a man of steel.
I found one quite sufficient, Steve. The one, I should say. Yeah. Well, I think we got our ratings. Now let's see. There's Miranda. Oh, was Steiner? Okay. Someone's saying Steiner. I don't know, but I don't know why. But he said, Jebsker said that. I offered an A for this genuine classic since Maddie's daddy called me out for my silence on the last one. Oh, well, look, hey, we love you being here, whether you're silent or not, whether you lurk, whether you hang, but we do love your participation as well. Yes. So if you have a rating, we love to see it, but you don't have to have one. It's just
you'll get lots of high fives and lots of warm hugs in this community.
Indeed, Miranda, we appreciate you either way, but yes. I'm glad you gave a rating, and yes, an A. And now this is one of the top reviewed episodes here at Clobbering Times.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I think we've got our ratings done. Here we go. Got another one. I know it's late over there, Ash, my brother. So I hear you, man.
No comment, just a B. Well, I hope it's nothing serious, Ash.
No. Well, it's very late over there.
I know. Ash, if you want to go to bed, you can. Please don't be don't feel obligated to stay. We love you so much, but what time is it over there? Like, you must be exhausted.
It is probably 4 or 5 in the morning.
Yeah, so
there he is. We're still working on that pronunciation. Say we always appreciate you being here, though. 07, I guess, is that a rating of a 7 or I don't know.
Doesn't that have a meaning? I believe that has a meaning. That's like a magazine title, and I think it has something to do with science fiction or information. I forget. It's not degree. I forget what it is. I'd have to look it up, but it's not by accident.
Sneaking one on us there. Kirk, indeed, shall Mr. Spock. Ironic, isn't it? Way back in the 20th century, the H-bomb was the ultimate weapon, their doomsday machine, and we used. I remember the episode well. We used something like it to destroy another doomsday machine. Probably the first time such a weapon has ever been used for destructive purposes. Appropriate, Captain. That's it. Anyway, yes, sir. I feel sorry for Raymond. I don't know why.
Because Raymond and Sandra had such different ratings on this one. So it's like they were just joking, like they weren't going to hold it against one another. I think that's what's going on there, because they are the most romantic couple that ever lived. So it's just funny because they're usually pretty close in their ratings, but this time it was like no, beat and like over the moon.
Damn it, Sandra. That's too low. Just kidding. We love you. Let's see. Yeah, but she was. Let's see. We've got a lot of big. Oh, my great buddy, Retro Blasting is also an A plus. As a kid, I was fascinated seeing another Starfleet ship in its ruined interior. Yeah, that's a good point. Absolutely. And you know what? I'm neither pro nor anti remastered. I watch them. It's fun watching them. They kind of screwed the pooch on the remastered of this one. It didn't look as there were some good shots, but some of it didn't look as great as it could have been. It was good. They did a decent job, but you know what? I'm fine with the little AMT model flying into the thing as well.
Claude Parrish says, or Claude. It could be Claude or Claude. Parrish says, I'm lurking incorrectly. Welcome to the fold. Did Miranda B force you to come out? Was her impulse to come out of lurk mode? Did that inspire you, Claude Parrish or Claude Parrish? Either way, it's lovely to have these new members. And with regards to Miranda B's comment that was on the marquee previously, I would just like you to know that Steve Mitchum speaks for all of us. Maddie's daddy, you have been assimilated.
Yes, you are now in the collective. We appreciate you, Miranda. We're going to get that pronunciation right one of these days. Missed it. Just got here. The shape of the entity reminds me of one of the scenarios in Star Trek. Oh, Starfleet Battles, board game by Amarillo Design Bureau. I think I know the guy that designed those. Knew him way back in the 80s, I think. Used to play it as a youngling. An old friend of mine designed that game, Starfleet Battles, if I remember right. But it's been a while. Let's see. Okay, everyone, we're about to. Oh, there's Ace Cast Iron. We have some late. We have another late review coming in.
Oh, NCC 1701A. Ace Cast Iron. I 100% read you, sir.
Yes, you read you on FM, brother. Loved the narration, the narration for the remastered trailer for this episode. This is the Trek fans. This is the Trek fans. Probably what the Trek fans have been waiting for. Let's see here. There we go. Team Space Anus. Oh my god.
Oh, this is why the whole chat was erupting, saying she's hysterical. So this is Team Space Anus. Oh boy, I think Miranda B and Toxic Man Flu. They're gonna make a whole new language for the chat.
Well, that is fine. We already have plenty of new words that have been invented.
Yes.
And let's see here. We're about to jump to the next episode, my friends. So let's see here. Oh, there he is. Okay, there is Claude. There he is. Oh, nearly. Oh, yeah, nearly. Oh, there we go. Ash. Yeah, we're about to move on to the next one, folks.
Nearly 5 a.m. No, I just don't have anything to say about this episode. Really, I didn't get to me. Also, I'll be fine. Monster Energy is my friend. Ash, I love you. You're such a sweetheart. And Monster it is. Monster it is.
And he is a great member of the Global Geek Gang, which we're doing Thursdays. This Thursday, number 800 of CLOBBERIN Times. We'll be celebrating, everyone. Let's see here. I think the chat. I'm way behind on the chat.
It's okay.
Trying to catch up everything.
The chat is fast tonight.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you what, we're gonna move on to our next episode. Because we have, again, these first two are just so great. I could just could spend all year on them. I love them so much, and yet I get tongue tied. I'm like, I don't know where to start. So I hope we did it, but we all had it was fun talking about it. So I love a mock time. I love the Doomsday Machine, and our next episode is Wolf in the Fold. In the Fold, ladies and gentlemen. We are moving on.
So if you're watching this at home on a streaming service, you know that it's season 2, episode 14. This is actually prod code 36. Dun, 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 dun. Now, please open your block text to tile number or block number 181182. And without further ado, let's get to it, folks. After Chief Engineering Officer Scott suffers an on-the-job head injury, Captain Kirk and Dr. McCoy take him down to Argalius II, a renowned hedonistic pleasure planet, for some therapeutic time off. Therapeutic time off. Just as Scotty begins to enjoy himself, however, a local woman in his company is brutally slain, and he becomes the primary suspect. As Kirk and McCoy investigate, a yeoman from the Enterprise is murdered, and again, Mr. Scott seems to be the only person nearby. Scotty claims to have no memory of his actions during the time frame of either crime, and Argalius's chief administrator, Hengist, wants to arrest him. The planet's prefect, Jarrus, delays Hengist, noting that Jarrus's wife, Sibo, who is gifted with the power of empathic sight, may be able to assist the investigation. But when Sibo is murdered while attempting to draw out the truth from Scotty, Scotty is again found at the scene. Wolf in the Fold was one of the last Robert Bloch a trilogy of Star Trek stories to be produced, although it originally aired before his Halloween-inspired tale Cat's Paw. Bloch, pendant for revisiting favorite themes once again, influenced his choice in subject matter. This time around, it is the lone psychopath who leaves a trail of murdered women in his wake. The story is Occult, Yours Truly, Jack Ripper, published in Weird Tales magazine 1943, and had already been adapted to an episode of the TV series Thriller in 1961. But with significant changes, it served as a springboard for an effective Star Trek murder mystery. Throughout his career, Bloch wrote about numerous historical villains, including the Marquis de Sade and Lizzie Borden, but Jack the Ripper was clearly a favorite. At first glance, actor John Thierdly may not seem to be the most likely personage to portray one of history's most infamous serial killers. The actor, with a helium-high voice, is better known for playing such gentle and shy characters as Juror Number 2 in the classic 12 Angry Men, and the diminutive Mr. Peterson on the Bob Newhart show. He also served a 4-year tenure as the voice of Winnie the Pooh's best friend Piglet for Walt Disney. And yet his appearance here is not casting against type. There's a method to the madness. Mr. Hengist is a simple administrator holding a less than glamorous job, pure John Fiedler. When Hengist is possessed by a bloodthirsty entity, Red Jack, one suspects that it was as much a treat for the actor to perform double duty as it was for the audience to watch him. And that's true, playing out of cast. When Tatiana Lamani, or Tania, Tanya. Yeah, I think it's Tanya. Sorry, I didn't pre-read this, folks. When Tanya Lamani, who portrays Kara, the belly dancer, was 12 years old, her family moved from Iran to the United States. At that time, she was fluent in Russian and Persian and had been studying ballet since the age of 3. She never suspected that a simple comprehension mistake in her newly acquired third language would have a profound impact on her life and career. I was 16, dancing in the ballet show, when someone offered me a job in Vegas. I took a bus there, and when I got to the Flamingo Hotel, I asked for the ballet troupe. They told me, "Oh, we don't have ballet dancers here. We have belly dancers." She joked. I didn't know what belly dancing was, and when I found out, I said, "I can't do that. My father would kill me." But I danced there for 6 weeks. And as time went on, the more I belly danced, the more offers I got to do that kind of work in Hollywood. My childhood dream had been to become the next Betty Davis, Lamani recalls. And when I was cast on Star Trek, they said they wanted someone who could both dance and act. So I was very excited. They sent me to the makeup department because they wanted to do something extravagant with my look. The first days, they put feathers of different colors all over my face, put eyelashes on my eyelids, my nose. Then they took me to the director, Joe Pevney, and he said, no, less. The makeup people kept trying to match his vision for 4 days with less and less feathers and fewer each time. But Joe kept saying, no. Finally, on the 5th day, I came in with no makeup, and he said, that's it. That's what I want to see, her face. After that, the actual filming only took a couple of days. As was the practice of the era, a certain surprisingly innocent part of the body was banned from the television screen. Cher experienced the same censorship on a variety show, as did Barbara Eden on the I Dream of Jeannie. And of course, so did Lamani. They let me do all the choreography myself, Lamani says, but they wouldn't let me show my belly button. They made me cover it with a jeweled flower because that would make it better, right? Anyway, 184, 185. During the 1960s, several erotic ingenues began appearing regularly on American screens, both large and small. Some, such as Francis or Francie Nunyan, I think, yes, who co-starred in South Pacific, and Nancy Kwan, who appeared in The World of Susie Wong and Flower Drum Song, would become widely recognized by the public. But others, such as Pilar Sucrat or Surat, did not become a household name, but were equally busy. And a Filipina American born in Manila, Surat, had a unique beauty that allowed her to play a variety of quote-unquote Asian roles. She already had co-starred with Burt Lancaster and Shelley Winters in the feature The Young Savages, as well as numerous TV shows, from Maverick to The Alfred Hitchcock Hour, when Gene Roddenberry cast her in his first series, The Lieutenant. Pleased with her performance, he asked her to appear on Star Trek as Sibo, the lovely Argalian empath who reveals Red Jack's presence and pays the price for doing so. Surratt retired from the entertainment business in the early 1970s, but her son, Dean Devlin, would grow up to become one of Hollywood's most successful writer-producers, with hits such as Stargate, Independence Day, and Godzilla, with then collaborator Roland Emmerich to his credit. A science fiction aficionado, Devlin has always professed a personal delight in his mother's appearance in the original Star Trek. His production of The Eight-Legged Freaks, which premiered the year after Surratt died, is dedicated to her memory. And that is all the block text has to say about Wolf in the Fold. And before I get to my notes, I'd like to turn it over to Clobby and the chat. What did you think of Block's coverage here? And anything to add?
Interesting stuff. Absolutely. I did not know anything that about the ladies being the mother of Dean Devlin, who made that horrible Godzilla thing. He's made a lot of stuff. That was something. And the whole belly button thing, reminds me of they couldn't show her belly button, but then on the Roddenberry pilot in the mid 70s called Genesis 2, he had Mariette Hartley on there, and he gave her two belly buttons. You could show two belly buttons in that one. So weird, I know. Weird, silly Roddenberry fun fact there.
Well, Magel, she actually has an interview that she gave when she was quite aged. And I think it's on a UK television show. I don't know anything about the UK, so you'd have to ask Esh about this. But she actually gave a full interview about that. So he did it on purpose to get back at the censors who were coming in and making their recommendations. And she says with delight, like 3 times in the interview, they refused one belly button, so he made sure he gave them 2.
Nice. So this one is by Robert Bloch, who also did What Are Little Girls Made Of? Also wrote, what was the other one he wrote?
Cat's Paw.
Cat's Paw, thank you. And yet
he always does this. He always does this, like, I don't know. Like, we've been here before, gothic horror. Like, I'm amazed he didn't do Frankenstein. Like,
well, remember, he wrote, as we know, he wrote, as we mentioned before, he wrote Psycho, so that's just his thing, I guess.
That is his thing, but like the Cat's Paw and the Wolf in the Fold, it's Jack the Ripper and it's a haunted house. I don't know how I feel about Robert. Robbie, you're a bit of a dick.
I don't know. But at least in this one, I don't think he blames anything on the older ones.
Yeah, which is another thing. Like he can't seem to just let go. Do you know what I mean? H.P. Lovecraft. It's like, is H.P. Lovecraft in everything you write, Robbie? You're a bit of a dick.
Well, I didn't know him. I don't know much about him other than that. No,
Oh no, like I meant seriously. His name is Robert, so he's a dick.
Okay, there you go. I thought that would be a Richard, but I don't know.
Oh no, I think it is. Oh my goodness! Wow, I have stream brain. Maybe I should have a sip of coffee. Oh my goodness!
I thought you just thought it was a jackass. I didn't know.
No, that's hysterical. I need more coffee. More coffee.
That's no problem, Manny's daddy. It's cool. It happens, bro. Just find out, you're cool. It happens. No, so that happens to me a lot, actually. So when chats move fast, buddy. But yes, this is a solid episode for me. Again, we're not in the stratosphere like those first two episodes for me personally, but I do really like it a lot. I don't know if I put it, if it makes my top 20 or 25, but this is, but I like it. I do like it. I like a lot of things about it. Again, they don't tell you much about Scotty's head injury, and they say something that's kind of cryptic. It's kind of strange, like it was caused by a woman.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like they're trying to set up this idea that he harbors resentment against women. Hey, do you remember that time when they tried to turn Scotty into the drug dealer of the ship? Again, no. And Maddie's daddy says Raquel needs a glass of Tranya. You are correct, sir. I just mixed Richard up with Robert. I need Tranya. Do you have Tranya?
Yeah. I don't know. Lord is back to his old tough self, by the way. Yeah, I'm getting some. Actually, I'm sending you some Tranya right now. Oh, they're my earbuds, though. Yeah, they're my earbuds. It wouldn't be a top 25 or for anything like that. And go Lord Thoth. Oh, he's back to the tough guy now.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with this one with Lord Thoth because it's just like, I don't know, like the Robert Bloch or Bloch, however you want to pronounce his last name. I don't know what
it's Bloch.
Yeah, I don't know what language that's from. I just hate that he reaches for this Halloweeny kind of stuff, and in any other venue I would be quite appreciative of it, because I like that sort of thing. As a lot of people at home know, if you've watched me on streams, I love gothic horror because it's all the fright without the gore or the violence. But it's just, this is not becoming of Star Trek. I find it tiresome, and I think he could have done a lot more. This is a show that looks at some of the highest echelons of philosophy and comparative literature, and it reaches out to multiple languages in every single episode. It's usually this densely packed, cerebral episode, and every time we meet with Robert Bloch, it's just the tired.
Yeah. I mean, I like it better than his other two episodes. I did like some of the stuff in it. It's some goofiness. I actually kind of I don't mind the concept of this Jack the Ripper being some sort of alien entity type thing. I don't mind bringing something like that into science fiction, but there's a lot of goofy stuff in it. I mean, I don't know. It's not that bad. I don't think it's that bad of a story nugget myself personally.
Yeah.
But I can't really put it up there with the greats or anything like that either. I just thought there were some good moments in it. And I kind of like some of the funny stuff at the end with the characters. I know a place where the women are so. Oh, I know the place. Let's go see some of the. Where they had to get the crew drunk basically to force the Jack the Ripper entity out.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I've seen a lot worse ones.
I know, but the thing is, it's like I really love Scotty, and a lot of people think that Jimmy is Scottish or whatever. He's actually Irish. His family's from Ireland, and he's from Canada. And I just don't understand why every single time one of these writers comes along to join us in writing, that they always try and, well, not they always, but they often try to turn Scotty into the creature from the Black Lagoon. I just don't understand. He's not a drug dealer, and he's not a murderer, and I'll tell you something else. Scotty's going to have to take a heck of a lot more than a bonk on the bean to turn into a murderer. So it's just, some of it is just, the dialogue is just a little cockamamie to me, and it makes me a little mad because Scotty is beloved by Trekkies, and so it's like, it's like making Data into a jerk off. It's just Jimmy is just too precious to us to have to try and swindle us by making us think that he could do the unthinkable when we know him to be a person who would never do such a
Yeah.
thing ever, never, never, ever, ever, never, ever.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, no argument there at all. Did you have notes on this one, or did you?
I do. Yeah, I got some notes on this one. So the drink, there's a drink story, and it is true. They wanted to do, I think it was Gene Roddenberry that wanted to do this. They wanted, have any of you ever heard of a Pousse Cafe? I think that's what it's called. It's a multi-layered drink that takes quite a lot to pour. I think it has 7 to 12 layers of really expensive liqueurs of varying viscosities. And I think it was Gene Roddenberry who saw this, and he wanted to have a layered drink for the dance. And he wanted it to light up as they drank it, or change, or like change somehow as they drank it. And he thought that that would be like a wonderful idea. The network said no, of course, not only because it was going to be too expensive, but they were actually scared that it was going to look like drugs. And apparently the producers came back and they were quite fierce about it. And the censors said, we don't care that it's going to look like drugs. So the answer is no. Leonard Nimoy was nominated for an Emmy for his portrayal of Spock right at this time. And Bill, of course, William Shatner, has openly admitted that he became quite angry and jealous that his nose was totally out of joint over this. So this episode marks the time in history where, you know, he started kind of acting like a jerk about it. Not kind of, he was a total jerk about it. And in order to appease his ego, it is openly known in the Star Trek community that the writers sidelined Nimoy on purpose. Which is really sad because this is the start of the tension and the fallout between William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, which they claim they later fixed up. But yeah, Bill was a real jerk off here. Here, Uhura isn't in this episode either, and we covered the reason why before. And interestingly enough, especially for you trivia folks at home, no red shirts die in this episode. And everyone should know that Nancy Crater's scream from the man trap is used when Kara is killed. So Kara really couldn't scream to the effect that they wanted, so they used Nancy Crater's scream. And of course, you know Nancy Crater from the man trap. And those are all my notes on that one. The Wolf.
Okay. Okay, well, I tell you what, everyone. I mean, your ratings go by so fast, so I hate to ask you all to do it again, but I mean, we're going to give our ratings, and then I want to get your ratings, everyone, on Wolf in the Fold. I don't have much to say about it. Like I said, man, I don't really. There's so many episodes I think that are so much worse for me. It just doesn't. I never really. This episode never really angered me or anything. I thought the concept was okay. It's just not one of my favorites. It's not a top 25, or it might not even be a top 40, or I don't know, but it just never really bothered me as much as some. So what is your rating? Then I'll give mine, and we'll get everyone to throw theirs out in the chat.
Okay, so for me, I just, this doesn't do it for me. This is maybe slightly better than the alternative factor. So, and everyone knows alternative factor is my ultimate, like, oh boy, what's going on with you, man? Let's give your face a slap. I'm going to give this a D minus.
Wow.
No, D plus, D plus. I'm going to give it a D plus. It deserves a D plus. D plus.
I'm going to be a C plus, I guess, because I just think they're ones that are worse. I think there are some good, at least some good character moments, except for Scotty, because I don't really like the way he's handled in the episode at all. I totally agree with that. I don't like the way he was written. But some of the stuff with, I don't know. I thought the concept was kind of okay, but it's a goofball episode, and there's just a lot of worse ones to come for me personally. But let's get everyone else's reviews. Let's say, all right. Let's say I may have missed one. All right, I'm going to start with Arian. So anyone else, I'm going to start from this point, because my chat moves on me so fast, everyone. C for Orange Luciano. I think Scotty overacts in this episode. He has done better. Well, yeah.
Agreed, Raymond.
Toxic Man Flu D plus. It was awful and deserves an AF, but it featured Mr. Scott, who was a favorite. So yeah, well, yep. So that gets it to a C. So it's D plus. It deserves an S, but then you got it to a C. I'm all confused.
Yep.
James Caserta. It's a top 79. Get out of
here. James Caserta. What a great comment.
Project Storytime. It's a goofy idea, but it was pretty well executed.
See, I think it's a great idea. I think that the idea of doing the Jack the Ripper thing, I think that's a great idea. Just the thing is that I find the Robert Bloch guy, I find him pretty ham-handed. Like, it's just like all of his stories aside of Psycho are, I don't know, they're just a little too, I don't know, kind of childish. I don't know, like this with Cat's Paw, it's like, dude, you are working with some of the greatest minds in science fiction. You've got Isaac Asimov on hand. You've got Gene Roddenberry on hand. You've got Hugo Award-winning, Nebula-winning authors all around you, and you chose to do this.
Yeah. That's actually her review, folks. It's changed her rating from a D plus to or D minus, whatever, to a what you just did.
Yeah, a raspberry.
Oh my goodness.
No. That's just no, dude. You're not allowed to write for us anymore. You got too much Halloween stuff going on. You're gonna do a jack-o'-lantern episode next time. So, no, I say good day.
You're basically saying you should stick to guys pulling back shower curtains and stabbing Janet Leigh or whatever.
Yeah, like that was okay.
Yeah, Psycho. Let's see here. Jesus is my king. C /7.3 store or whatever it means. Store or Trek. Horror Trek. I get a good one. Just doesn't roll off the tongue. Store Trek, dude. We get a C minus. From Chris Persia, the great Chris Persia, I should say. Let's see here. Steve Ernest says, what about the guy who was really innocent, just possessed by the Ripper? He got beamed into space. Yep, but he was always there at all those other places where the Ripper was, though. But yeah, good point. You there? Oh, you killed the mic. Let's see here. This was let's see. This was next. Oh, let's say D plus for me, only because I love Scotty. That's for Lord Thoth. Mark Deal with a C says C minus. 2 out of 5 piglets. Interesting concept with the creature, but the episode falls flat, and the lines about women are regressive. Are they? Okay.
Okay, just for the chat, just so you guys know, I just looked it up, and this is a Jewish name, and it's Bloch or Bloch. Or here, just let me play it. Let me play it for you guys. I don't know if you'll be able to hear this off mic. Let me just turn it up. Bloch.
Okay.
Bloch. So it's kind of like bloke, a little bit more like bloke than block. Yeah.
I thought he was a spiffing bloke. Quite a nice. He's a bloke.
Yeah.
A bloke. He's a bloke.
Don't mind me, everybody. It's just I'm Canadian, so like I'm not firm on the pronunciations because we're a multicultural society up here, and so I immediately try to identify somebody's the name, the origin of their name, and I try and abide their actual heritage language instead of anglicizing their name. I try and make that a practice out of respect for the multiculturalism that exists here. So it's not that I'm, I want to correct people because you all already know I don't believe in that. It's just for me, it's I have a tough time anglicizing people's names because I sometimes find it a little disrespectful. So I'm never quite firm unless I go look it up.
No problemo. We have 2 ratings from James Caserta. That's cheating, sir. A minus / B plus. You people are spoiled. We are. We're spoiled by a mock time and Doomsday Machine.
He's correct. But he is correct. Like James Caserta, it's so funny. Hey, like when you go back and you look at this, you're actually looking at the best of the best. So who are you to whine about the best of the best and say that the best of the best has wheat and chaff? So I totally agree with you. I would still take this episode over anything on TV today.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. And there's some okay character bits, except for Scotty. The great Doctor Hercule Monkey. C plus, no witty puns. This one. Well, this time. Well, that in itself is a witty one, sir. C for Sandra Feliciano. It doesn't really fit with what we know of the characters. Absolutely can't argue with that for them, especially Scotty.
I totally agree with you, Sandra. I completely
for Scotty,
agree
I'm with you. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, that's not a rating, but still, I'm sorry. I thought that was a rating. Let's see. Do we got any? Oh, here with more ratings, folks. I love me some ratings. The great Eric K. I give it a C plus, boosted up because the whole entity of the whole entity going throughout the ages, living on and yeah, I like that. I mean, again, I like I'm good on the concept.
Yeah, me too.
And sometimes that'll run away with me a little bit. I'll go, that was a pretty good idea. And if it wasn't filled with a really lot of absurd stuff, I'll kind of be a little lenient if on a Trek episode that way.
What a wonderful thing to say. Clobby, that's exactly how I feel about this. I think that it didn't have to be so ham-handed. I think it could have been something really special if it would have been just tweaked a little bit. So very well said. That is exactly how I feel about this episode, and that's normal because I usually agree with you on everything with Star Trek. You just have a great mind for Star Trek.
Well, thank you. And there was a brilliant episode of the great show Babylon 5, which I'm binging again, which was similar to this about the whole was also Jack the Ripper, and they handled it way better. I love Babylon 5, but I don't love it as much as Trek. But this time their Jack the Ripper was better. But I think it could happen. But then it's influenced by Trek, so because they love Trek. I mean, the people, and there's so many Trek people on that show, by the way. Let's see. The great Rod Thunderheart says, "I'm going to go with C. If I remember this, this is my first non-A episode. Really? First one, huh? Wow.
Oh, well, Rod really loves Star Trek. Like and the thing is that Rod is very connected to this same idea that I have, which is socio-historical context. And so when you're looking back on this kind of entertainment and you're just realizing this legacy that it created and how much it's affected science fiction on a go forward basis, even society. So yeah, I really love Rod's positive and very nurturing ideas and opinions with regard to Star Trek. So definitely I understand where he's coming from, where he's like, look, it's really all A's for me. So excellent comment, Rod Thunderheart.
Indeed, sir. Scuba Pete, C, but it felt like I got stabbed in the back on this weird one. Gotcha. Let's see here.
The knife from Rigel.
Steve Ernst. He says it's Robert Bloch. I've always said Bloch, but I mean, maybe he pronounces that way. Who knows?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, and that's okay. Like that's all right if somebody wants to anglicize their name. But if you go to more multicultural places, people aren't so apt to anglicize their name. And I think that it's okay for us to learn, because I think having all those beautiful heritage languages in the world just makes us amazing together, because we have so many stories to tell one another, and so many cultures and so many foods and so many different types of music, and we can learn from one another. So I make sure that I defer.
Yep. Well, there you go. Again, that's all. We're done with old Robert anyway. I don't think we have any more episodes that he's ever written. So we're no, nothing personal, Robert. Maddie's that a B, 4 out of 5 Red Jacks. Red Jack. No, kill you all die, make you suffer.
Raymond is going to bed.
Raymond, I'll finish real quick. I think adding the historical character Jack Ripper into a space genre is a fun dichotomy. Agreed. Raymond Feliciano, sir.
Oh, Sandra's leaving as well, so we're losing the couple.
Well, we appreciate you so much.
We love you
for being here. Absolutely, my friends. Thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate you.
Great, absolutely outstanding comments tonight. Thank you so much for making our community so wonderful. Felicianos, you are just the romantic power couple of nerds and geeks. So have a great rest of your weekend, and I will see you next week.
Indeed. Have a great one. And again, we always love having you here. Ash, my good buddy Ash, member of the Global Geek Gang, says A minus. That's the highest rating tonight, I believe, sir. I didn't like Scotty in this episode, but love the murder mystery aspect of the Jack the Ripper concept in a completely hedonistic society. Jack is fascinating. Yeah, look, I can think those are probably the things I liked about it the most as well, Ash. So good on you. Good on you. Black block. Look, see here, but making sure we got all our ratings.
Yeah.
All right, I think we've got still D plus for Lord Thoth. All right, I think we got all of our ratings.
Did he actually say that? I love you, Lord Thoth. Still D plus.
Still D plus. Yes, he did. Nah, still D plus. I don't know who he was talking to, but no, yeah, it was probably me. Dude, look, we got to cut 2 A pluses out of you, man. So we're hanging on to those. I think Claude will say it's C.
Still a C. That's a fair rating, Claude.
C, absolutely. And I'm just making sure we got everybody's ratings before we move on. All right. Hey, Cardinal Sins here. Hey, buddy. Good to see you, man.
Hello, welcome.
Always a pleasure, my friend. I'm glad to see you. Let's see here. I guess we've got. Everybody loves Raymond going to bed. Get out of here. Okay, I think we're caught up now, everyone. I think we got everyone's ratings. Okay, now we're going to move on to the next episode. And I think let's just say it. It is, of course, the Changeling. Please proceed, number one.
Yeah, the Changeling. So if you're streaming this, you're going to see it as season 2, episode 3. This is prod code 37. So this is 37 in the line. And we're going to turn to the block text, the block text, 185, 186. And without further ado.
On Changeling.
Yeah, the Changeling, yeah.
Damn it, stupid ass Google. Good.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll read and you just take your time.
No, you're good. You're good.
4 billion inhabitants of the Marian system have been ruthlessly eliminated. As the crew of the Enterprise investigates the cause behind the Holocaust, they encounter a small, self-contained computerized device that identifies itself as Nomad. Once a Terran exploratory probe sent into space to seek out new life, Nomad has been transformed into a hybrid device, the result of its union with an alien probe programmed to collect sterilized soil samples. Nomad now believes its mission is to sterilize, or rather eradicate, imperfect life forms, like the imperfect inhabitants of the system and the crew of the Enterprise. Oh, poor Uhura. She loves to sing, but every time she does, something terrible happens. In this episode, in the episode Charlie X, Charlie doesn't like the teasing little ditty she makes up about him, so he closes up her throat, choking off the song. Fortunately, there was no permanent damage at the time. In The Conscience of the King, Riley is so entranced by Uhura's singing that he allows himself to get poisoned. No permanent damage that time either, although it was a close call. Then, in The Changeling, Uhura singing so intrigues Nomad that he scans her brain in a rather clumsy attempt to discover whence the melodic urge arises. Unfortunately, this time there is permanent damage. The probe inadvertently purges the communications officer's brain of all knowledge. Fortunately, she's quickly re-educated, and none of these misfortunes had an impact upon the considerable musical talent of Uhura's alter ego, Nichelle Nichols. When Nomad comes aboard, it tells Kirk that it has the capability of movement within the ship, but the probe may have been a bit overconfident. Observant viewers have noted that Nomad moves through the engineering late in the fourth act of The Changeling. It seems to swing back and forth and a bit unsteady. Was Nomad hitting the Saurian brandy that day? Nope. It was simply experiencing a little glitch that the editors neglected to nip in the final print. Nomad's mobility came courtesy of a special effects man, or perhaps more properly, a puppeteer, who controlled the probe's forward motion as it dangled on a wire and he walked on an overhead soundstage rafter. Of course, the puppeteer had to stop from time to time, allowing the probe to hit its mark and pause as it followed Scotty's course around the room. The man in the rafters simply didn't have enough leverage to halt the dangling object's forward momentum in that scene. In the same sense that Nomad became a changeling, this episode was destined to become a changeling as well. 11 years after NBC canceled Star Trek, Paramount Pictures released the film Star Trek: The Motion Picture. As noted by many Trekkies, significant similarities exist between this episode and the movie. In The Changeling, a damaged Terran exploratory probe programmed to find new life form unites with an alien probe designed to sterilize soil samples. Boy, she said this already. This is weird that she's writing this because she just said this. The hybrid probe thinks it is supposed to eliminate all biological infestations, and following its earlier programming, seeks to return to the home of its creator. Kirk knows that he has to stop it because once Nomad gets to Earth, it will find a planet full of biological infestations and destroy them. In the film, a Terran space probe named Voyager has been damaged and subsequently repaired on the planet of living machines. The probe, which now calls itself V'ger, seeks to sterilize all the carbon units that it encounters, including those on Enterprise and Earth, where it hopes to meet its creator. In each iteration, Spock learns the full background of the hybrid machine by performing the Vulcan-to-machine mind meld. Little wonder that some fans referred to the motion picture as Where Nomad Has Gone Before. And that is the end of the block coverage of The Changeling. And so without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Clobby. Clobby, what did you think of Block's coverage of this episode? And what do you have to add?
Good coverage. It was, like she did. It was redundant. That little bit you were talking about, where she seemed to cover the basic Nomad's original mission twice there.
Yeah.
But yes, so it was a little puzzling, but I'm a big fan of this episode. This is a top-notch one for me. It's probably a top 20 or somewhere. I think it is for me personally. Yes, I do. It's irresistible to make the joke, even though I love the motion picture. I unabashedly love it. It's fun to make the joke where Nomad has gone before. The similarity is there, but yes, and so it is definitely worth pointing out, and it's fun, but still love it. But yeah, again, the episodes that you love tend to bring out the fun memories, including one of my favorite bloopers of all time, which you may or may not be familiar with this one, when Kirk is on the bridge telling Nomad that he's going to beam him aboard, and Scotty says, he's supposed to say, Captain, you're not going to bring that beastie in here or whatever, Well, Scotty said, Duhan forgot his line, so he says, but Captain, you forgot about the environment and all that stuff. You sure you really want to do that?
Yeah.
I love that. And I do love to see when they first meet Nomad in the transporter room. And at first they think it's a tiny ship, because the way it's, they don't know what it is. And, Scotty, in my opinion, that's a machine. What is opinion? And of course we know who's doing the voice for, was Duhan doing the voice for Nomad? Or was it Vic Perrin? Who did the voice for Nomad in this one? I can't remember. Anyway,
I think it's Vic Perrin.
Maybe it's Vic Perrin.
Yeah, it's Vic Perrin. I would recognize if it was Scott.
Duhan, you did do some, but you're right. This is Vic Perrin. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry, my brain screw up there.
That's okay. It's called Stream Brain. Earlier, I mixed up Richard And Roberts.
There you go. Yes, I should have. Yeah, should have known better there. But absolutely. So I thought it was. I think this is just a terrific episode. Again, it's one of those things. And yes, Steve mentioned you were quite correct that Nomad had a second life in Star Trek in the Enterprise incident as the Romulan cloaking device.
Mhm.
So Nomad got around. Got around. But again, I thought a wonderful story. I do have a question that again, you probably have an opinion on this. I don't know if we've ever talked about it. The scene where, well, the fact that Uhura's mind is wiped by, and we later on, I've always thought about this, and I always just kind of excused it. But I know you may have an opinion on it. You may be like me. You don't know what the deal is, but of course, we see her later. They've decided the mind is, her brain's still there, not damaged. We can re-educate her.
Yeah.
Which they began to do. And then the next time we see her, she's fine. She's like her old self. I mean, were her all of her life memories erased? If so, she's a totally new person, and then they just automatically, she's so smart, I guess, she's just re-educated completely enough to a level to do all the things she did before.
Yeah, well, I think that they sort of treated it like a stroke victim. When somebody's had a stroke or somebody has had brain trauma, usually like they're trying to repair just like the basic functions and language center of somebody's brain. But at the same time, it takes a leap of faith. This episode takes a leap of faith, and for some people, it's a leap too far, right?
Yeah, it's again, hey, it's a minor little when that happens on every show, so it's no big deal. Just always kind of, you think about that. If you love Trek, mostly that much, you think about all the crazy stuff, all the little stuff. You go, and it's just a fun
Yeah.
thing.
Once again, though, the nucleus would not have pushed this story out. There's no way that if Gene L. Kuhn and Gene Roddenberry and DC Fontana were sitting in a room together, that this story would have happened, because we know how Gene Roddenberry felt about Nichelle Nichols's presence on the ship and what she represented for society.
Yeah.
And also the fact that, it's his former girlfriend. So we know here we're seeing this John Meredith Lucas. Once again, like I said, that centrifugal force, you begin to feel a tiny bit, just, and not significant, just tiny bit, just to articulate it, a bit of a betrayal in the storytelling. The further out this author is from that nucleus that is fundamental to I don't know what, for lack of a better term, pure Star Trek storytelling, which is, this utopian society, and all of the characters are well understood. Here we're seeing that John Meredith Lucas he's not really so much attached to that idea, and he's pitched the story, and it's going to go through, right? But interestingly enough, though, Nichelle Nichols frequently tells a story at conventions about how she actually fought with Mark Daniels over the continuity and integrity of the Uhura storyline here.
Mm-hmm.
So, they went back and forth, and apparently she just decided she was going to go and talk to Gene Roddenberry. And she said to, Gene, come and back me. And of course, Gene did back Nichelle's claim that once her mind was erased, that she would revert to Swahili and not English. And so they had to hire a linguist to write like the correct dialogue or lines for her. So, I think that might have served as a bit of a distraction, and so some of those issues were not addressed. An important thing to remember here too is that Nurse Chapel describes her as having an aptitude for mathematics, not for languages. I don't understand why people think that Uhura is a linguist. I think it's the weirdest thing. Also in my notes here, this is a sing episode. So if you love Gurbani and you love Sikhi and you love the Punjabi and Sikh culture as I do, this is a sing episode. So I get to see another sing, which makes me really happy. If you watch this show, if you watch this stream, you know that I love being able to see my own neighborhood. And when I see a sing on TV at this time, I'm seeing my own neighborhood, which I love. This is also the first time Scotty uses Given Them All We've Got. That's the first time he uses this phrase. And the song that Nichelle Nichols sings as Block says, yeah, it was the same as From the Conscience of the King. And little known fact, Gene Roddenberry wrote those lyrics. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
all I have for the Changeling, except for, oh yeah, I do the Ilia probe. I cosplay it. And
Oh,
so I
nice.
just love that the dialogue of Nomad is nearly identical to Ilia. And that's all I have. That's all my notes on this episode.
Well, there you go. I really like this episode. I think it's an excellent story. I I love some of the great moments, between Kirk and Nomad, especially the way he just defeats him at the end right there. And to me, this is a top one of the things I would call a top solid episode of Star Trek with a very well moving script and a very interesting, of course, an interesting concept as always. I like the concepts in Star Trek. And yeah, again, this what the first two that we did tonight, I mean, just can't even go. But this one is a top solid episode for me. So we will now get your rating, my friend.
I think that some people went home. Let's see here. It looks as though
Yes,
in the
they
chat.
did. They did. I wrote some down.
Okay, well, if you're
Ray.
still out there, Esh, good night. And who else did we lose?
A few. Dr. Herky Monkey had to go. First
Okay.
story time had to go.
Yeah, we ran long tonight. Well, I'm sorry I didn't get to say goodnight to you guys. Yeah, for me, this episode is like an A minus, an A. I think it's a good episode.
I am an A. I'm sitting at a solid A. I think this is again, like my buddy Flash says, and everyone, you please give us your ratings now. Yeah, great science fiction concept, technology inadvertently left unattended, comes back to haunt its creator. A solid A for my buddy Flash. Let's see what else everyone's got. Yeah, I agree with that. Let me see if I hope I'm at the beginning. If I'm not, everyone let me know at the beginning of the ratings. James Concerta is a solid A, not just
Yeah.
an A, a solid one.
Yeah.
That's 2 solid A's so far. Let's see here. Oh, still here. Okay. S is still here. Good.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I do. Again, I love that. I love that exchange. No, Matt, I made an error in creating you. Creation of perfection is no error. Yeah. Great. So I love it when Kirk beats up computers.
Yeah, this is another one of his talking the computer to death. And somebody's Jesus is my king has made a comment. Yeah, Ilea. Yeah. A lot of the white people in the movie say Ilea. I hit it a little bit differently because I sort of say it like Parasite says it.
Didn't Spock say Ilea?
Yeah. It's you guys. Anyway, go back and watch the movie. You can hit it hard or you can hit it soft, and
Sure.
the world won't end, just so you know.
Yes. I noticed after you said that, we were still here.
Yes.
The wall of antimatter did not, in fact, destroy us.
Yes.
In is an A minus. Thank you. Let's see here. Rod Thunderheart will say an A. Let's see here. Toxic Man Flu. I give this episode a 9 out of 10 Raquels.
I love you, TMF.
Oh dear. Again, Rod Thunderheart. Okay, so that's an A. Let's see here. Jesus is a B/8.2. Change her to the true linguistics expert we know today. What the hell? It did? Oh, well. I think he's just teasing. I don't know.
I have no idea. It's changed to her. Yeah, I don't. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that is one of the reasons why people think that she's a linguist, but she's not. So,
but yeah, basing it on that stupid George Abrams garbage. People just like to think that's it for some reason. I don't know.
Yeah, Yeah, and I think that sometimes people have watched the show maybe one or two times, and or maybe just once, and maybe see it on a rerun, and they form an opinion, and then I don't think they go back and fact check. I think they just have this
Right.
first idea of it, and that's what they think. But yeah, I've been on many a Star Trek forum, especially when the internet, when people first started really getting on the internet, and everyone was totally convinced that that Nichelle Nichols's character was just a linguist.
Yep. Well, no, they aren't. No, she is not. But you know what? She's smart enough to be one if she wanted to be. So I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Mark D with a C, B plus 4 out of 5 V'gers. Great sci-fi concept of a probe advancing and possibly becoming sentient. Classic Kirk triumphing over the machine. Yes, sir. I'm with you. Sterilize.
Yeah.
Ace. NC7. Excuse me. 171B. Excellent, sir. Excellent. Let's see here. This foreshadowed feature, so I like it. Raquel, I agree. Nichelle Nichols could jumpstart any young man's dreams.
Yeah.
So at least a B plus. Thank you.
Yeah, Erke, yeah, she is just absolutely stunningly beautiful.
Yep. Let's see here. So if we got some more ratings. Oh, here we go. Let's see here. Maybe it's a rating. Ish. Half, 1.5. What? Oh, I'm not sure. Oh, that's 1 of 2. Sorry. It's my eyes are killing me. This is a screen here. Would have been only a B, but it is an A. I love thought experiments and paradoxes. And when Kirk introduces the paradox of and pointed out nomad's imperfections, even though it strives for perfection. Yes, indeed. Let's see here. Did it? Let's see. Did it for me? Coincidentally, Red Vision did a similar thing to White Vision and WandaVision. Fun out. Yeah, he did. He kind of nomad. That was. Yeah, that's kind of true. I did. Let's see here. I mistakenly said about it as. Yeah, well, the chat can fool you sometimes. And it was just Sulu didn't care how you pronounce Diley as long as he got to sit next to her.
Well, no, the thing is Paris Kambala is I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name correct. She's brown, and you also have to remember that that it is coming from what white people would say is Elias, or they would or El Elias, and it's very strange. Anyway, in Greek, the name is Ilia, so we don't say Ilia, it's Ilia. So anyway, that's the reason for that. But it's like I said, the world won't end. But if you go look it up, it's a made up name that comes from what Americans or Anglo people would say would be Elias or Elias, however they pronounce it in North America. But yeah, it is Greek. It is from Greek for Ilia. Or yeah, anyway, it doesn't matter. It's
Gotcha.
neither here nor there. The world won't end. There are lots of languages in the world, although I know many times that people think that the place that they come from has the only pronunciation for words, and that's unfortunate.
Indeed. A minus for the Uhura stuff. Oh, there you go. A from Scuba Pete. Let's see here. But let's see if we got any more ratings. Let's see if we got any more ratings. I think we may have all the. Okay, Maddie said he C. I liked. Let's see here. I liked it more as a kid, but not so much anymore. Can't really say why. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. You like what you like. That's what I say. I think we got all the ratings there, Raquel. I think we got everybody. I hope we did. And yes, well, there you go. Well, I'll tell you what. For the most part, a lot of good Trek, even though we had one episode that not everyone was all that fond of. A lot of good Trek there tonight, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I thought it was really good. These I don't know, these episodes, they're better than I remembered when I'm forced when I'm forced to rate them, because, I just watch them every year and I just
Mhm.
love all of them. Like,
Right.
you just watch it and you're just like, oh, that's such a great moment. But when you're forced to talk about it in public and you're forced to give it a rating, it really does bring out all the things you love about it, and the strengths and the weaknesses in the episodes, and even where you're at in your life. You know what I mean? Like, are you a young person, or are you like a middle-aged person with kids, or are you an older person and you've watched it many times, and what's going on in the world, and that offers it, it gives it a backdrop that gives you feelings about it that shift through time. So it was great to watch these episodes with you.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I tell you what, we'll start wrapping up now, I guess, because we've been here, we've kept each other, we've getting close to the big three. Well, we got all four of these in under the wire, though, as far as the 3 hour wire goes.
Yay!
Well done, and you've done them as always. You've done magnificently. And have the chat, man. Again, you were all just rocking tonight. We appreciate you so much. Let's see, before we say our goodbyes, a few show notes, my friends. Monday night we'll be reviewing the WandaVision finale. Let's see here, and where are we at? Where are we at? Okay, and that will be Monday night. This Wednesday night, again, I haven't scheduled again. If you're here still out there with me, Michael with Retro Blasting, if you're still doing it with me, let me know, buddy. I can change if we have to, but I haven't scheduled Wednesday night. Hopefully, my great Retro Blasting pal Michael French will be joining me to talk about his amazing new video, everyone, which is called "Pride of the X-Men," which I was so proud to be a part of. It's a great video, even though my voice is in it. I tried. His videos are so good, even I couldn't ruin it, folks. That's how good it is. That's how great his channel is. And that's saying something, because not that I tried to ruin it, but I was there. I just thought, that would be it.
You're wonderful. Don't be hard on yourself.
I don't know. I just hate I've always hated my voice anyway. So
it's hard to listen to your own voice, especially because your voice sounds so much different to other people than it does in your own head when it's resonating off all of the bones and all the flesh in your body. It sounds completely different. And so it sort of feels like an outer body experience when you hear your own voice. It's a lot of people don't like it. But I think it feels strange, but you get used to it, or you just do what I do. Don't ever rewatch or listen to yourself.
Well, I've heard that from others, so that's what I take a little solace in, that people say no one likes to hear their own voice. So, you're too kind, Mark with D with the C. When I hear it, I cringe. I guess that's why I never go back and listen to myself. So, now I don't know if this is true or not. In a similar vein, some actors say they never watch their own shows, and I've heard Shatner before say he never went back and watched the Trek episode. I've heard Brent Spiner say he never went back and watched any episode of the show, of his shows ever. I find that, well, I'm not an actor, so how should I know? I find that a little tough to believe, personally.
I don't know if I believe that. I don't listen to myself either after I've been on something, but there are plenty of times I couldn't help but hear my own voice on the radio, even if I switched it really quickly.
Yeah, but if you were an actor, would you watch your own? I mean, if you did a TV show every week, you might watch sometime. I mean, never.
Well, I think that this IP permeates our culture, so I find it hard to believe. But Esh is going to bed. Esh Singh, thank you so much for sticking with us. It's 6 a.m. Please go to sleep, and I will give you one wee before you leave. You ready?
There you go.
Whee! Thank you so much, Esh. I will see you next Saturday, and be safe and have a wonderful week. It was so good to spend time with you.
Well, there you go. Absolutely. Ash, thank you, buddy. I will see you in the big Global Geek Gang. Again, Thursday, yes. Episode number 800 of Clobbering Times in April. I've been doing this for 12 years. Only a year on YouTube, but for 12 years overall. And so the Global Geek Gang and I will celebrate the big 800, my friends. Please join us. And let's see here. We have some friends. Let's see. What was that? A voice? I have a voice for silent movies and a face for radio.
Who said that? Okay.
Hey,
love you, Eric.
you think you're joking? You're not, dude. That is so true.
Oh, he better be joking. No,
Oh,
Eric would never hurt your feelings. He's
no.
wonderful.
Yeah, but you don't understand. It wouldn't hurt my feelings. I would go, yeah, no kidding. I have to see this ugly mug in the damn mirror all the time.
Oh, I love you, Clobby.
I hate me, but if you like me, that's okay. If you like me, maybe I'll like me one day.
I love you, Clobby. I think you're such a beautiful person. You're just so kind and gentlemanly, and your expertise in comics is second to none. And everybody loves you. They just tease you.
Well, I appreciate you. But not everybody, because I know Claude doesn't love me. Maybe.
Oh, everyone's sending off all of their good nights. So I think we should
say my goodbyes. Yes.
Yes, please. Let's run through the names as quickly as we can, because I don't want to miss anyone. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. I love all of you. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week.
Oh, I'm so happy to see you all here, my friends. I want to say a great shout out to the great Lord Thoth, Avon Lives LLL, my friend. The great Maddie's daddy was here. It still is, I think. Thank you. Ace Castar, my good friend. Thank you so much. He's gone now, but we get to say his name, so we like it. Doctor, say it with me. Doctor
Hercumonkey.
Oh, my buddy Jobber, Just Joe 47 was here earlier. Jobber, always a pleasure. Hey, the great Flash, Carrie Fisher. Hey,
brother. Flash, you were great tonight. Thank you, Flash.
Appreciate you, buddy. Mark D with a C, a great friend of the channel. We always appreciate you. Love that Doomsday Machine little statue you have there. That he showed me on Twitter. It was great. Your old buddy TMF.
Yes, TMF, love you. Mwah, mwah. I'll see you next week, honey.
Toxic Man Flu, thank you, sir. Parrothead was here earlier.
Parrothead, love
Parrothead. You. Indeed. And they called him Scuba Pete. Scuba Pete.
Scuba Pete.
We had James Caserta. Thank you, James. We have a new friend in the wonderful, the lovely Miranda. I think it was Bromer. How do you say it? It's B. We'll just go with B. Miranda B. And we had the master of all great wrenches on the West, Eric Kerr.
Yeah, Eric, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, buddy, for being here.
Love you.
The great Chris Persia was here. Hey, Mexican Iron Man popped in for the land, like the Marty Zyquan himself. The great Mexican Iron. Hey, buddy, good to see you there, my friend.
Good night.
Oh, man, I appreciate you, Mexican Iron Man. Always a good buddy. Let's see here. The Felicianos, we can never forget them.
Yes.
Wonderful. Raymond and Sandra, thank you.
Love you guys.
They're amazing. Jesus is my king, 68. You appreciate you, sir.
Yes, thank you for coming.
Stephen Ernest.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
My buddy Ernest. Yes, it was so good to have you tonight. Thank you so much for coming by.
Indeed. Thank you, Stephen. My buddy Jed was here. Yo, bro, we'll see you Thursday on the Geek Gang.
So good of you to come. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
We had the wonderful, the beautiful, the magnificent Purple Valkyrie pop. And I know hopefully she's getting some rest now. I'm sure she had to run, but we love you, Purple. We're going to shout you out whether you're here or not. That's the way we do it.
Yes.
And again, we said goodbye to our buddy Ash, I believe.
Yes.
Your good friend and mine, the great Rod Thunderheart.
Yes, Rod Thunderheart. Love you so much. Have a great week.
Indeed. Your buddy Wade was here.
Yes, Wade, the sci-fi guy. Very smart and very, very kind person. If you're not following him on Twitter, go follow him on Twitter.
Hail Wade. The Cyber Elf. Thank you, Cyber Elf. I've seen him on Twitter. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. I don't know what I did. All right, let's see here. Canadian Spider-Man who does whatever a Canadian Spider-Man was here.
Love you, Canadian Spider-Man. Have a great week.
Good to see you, buddy. Thank you so much. We had a pop-in visit from my fantastic friend Michael French of Retro Blasting. All hail Retro Blasting.
Oh, yeah. Retro Blasting was here. So get your butts on over there and sub his channel.
Please go sub the great Retro Blasting channel, my friends.
This is like a Lawrence Welk show ending.
Oh, man. Yes.
Claude, you watched the Lawrence Welk show?
He's older than Lawrence Welk. Claude is here. The great Tim Myers popped in earlier. My buddy Tim Myers. Thank you, sir. And, of course, Cardinal Sin, my friend. Thank you for popping in. And I think we got everybody. If we missed anyone, I am sorry. But we do appreciate you all. and we're going to say goodbye. Good night, everyone. And cannot wait to see you next week. Have a good one. Take care, my friends.
Yeah. Night, everyone. Live long and prosper.
Live long and prosper. I shall do neither, for I have killed my captain and my friend. Or something like that. Good night, everyone.